Welcome to the Couch Potato Sports Show, your internet radio home for all sports, news, and talk. Join Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, and the Eagle Eye, Bill Cerna, and the best co-host anyone could ask for, Cuervo. We cover it all: NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL, as well as indoor football and high school sports. Now, it's time. Here's Sonny Clark.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues on here in our 11th season. It's that being said, as we take a look at the second part of Week 16 of the NFL, we were on air on Friday, Christmas Day. By the way, Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year and all that stuff as we're moving along. See, we're kind of festive here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Hope everybody has had a great holiday season so far. Just to give you a little programming note, Obie is not going to be joining us today as he's going out to the shooting range. I know exactly where he's going. I avoided that place like the plague. Afraid of guns. So, yeah, but I know exactly where he's going. He's going there with his brother-in-law. Hopefully he's having a good time, and he will continue to have a good time as well. That being said, someone's calling me. Sonny, that's the boss, DC Dennis Clark, texting me, I guess. We're on air, so he should know where I'm at. So hopefully everybody's having a great, a great holiday season. Week number 16 started off with 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 NFL football games, and it started on Christmas Day as the New Orleans Saints were taking on the Minnesota Vikings. And I will tell you, I came home from work. Well, no, this was the Christmas Day game, and we saw not necessarily a good game at all per se. 55-33. It was worse than that number. It shows up as New Orleans did exactly what they needed to do to put themselves in a really good position as far as the NFC is concerned, as they are fighting the battle to try to win that top spot in order to get the week 1 bye of the playoffs. So they did what they had to do. They got that victory. Green Bay, on the other hand, is the team they're fighting for that top spot in the NFC. Green Bay takes on Tennessee. So that will be very interesting to where all that works out. If Tennessee gets the victory over Green Bay, how that whole thing works up there. So that being said, of course, that's the name. Oh, it's wrong window. Okay. Yeah, he texted me directly. Good morning, the boss, DC Dennis Clark. He'll probably be watching throughout the day, maybe even joining on. Hell, who knows? But that being said, that's the name of this show. Thursday night football, Friday night football, Christmas Day. Really, ho-hum, but it was something to watch, I guess, on Christmas, besides some of the other things that I was watching on Christmas. By the way, Wonder Woman 84, anyway, maybe it's me. Maybe I just don't understand new action-packed movies and what it's all about, but more about special effects than the plot of a movie, I guess. But hey, that's just Sunny. But that was Christmas Day. Now, I worked Saturday morning and didn't get off until about 1:30, and I rolled in at halftime of the first game of the Tampa Bay-Detroit game, and good God almighty. Literally, it was a horrible football game at halftime.
Can we talk?
Yeah, I know. It was bad. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers woke up out of their hibernation to really blow away a bad football team in reality, which in reality for Tampa Bay, good for them, going into building on something, going into week number 17 and solidifying them as far as where they want to be as far as the playoffs are concerned. I'll get that to you in a moment. Then it was San Francisco and Arizona, and this is what I wanted to do too. If you go back to the show, I wanted to do 2 teams that I wanted to upset on. But Arizona looked like they were a football team last week. In week 15, they had a pretty good outing. In fact, they won. Let's find out what they did here. Arizona played Philly. I picked Philly, but they beat. And not only that, they had a good outing. They played well. And then they go and lay the egg on Saturday. And the San Francisco 49ers beat the Arizona Cardinals 20-12. Now, 20-12 says a lot about what that game was about. Arizona not being able to move the ball. Arizona not getting the ball in the end zone. Arizona having a tough time everywhere where they went as far as that football field was concerned. And that just goes to show where they may or may not be when it comes time for the playoffs. I'll do that. I'll do it now. I'll put up the wild cards right now. I'm not putting up the standings because the standings are pretty much set. No, really, who cares? But here's the wild card picture as you look at the NFC. We talked about Green Bay being on top with New Orleans getting the victory right there. They move. Well, they didn't move in reality, but they're really fighting for that spot, especially if Green Bay goes ahead and loses their game again against the Tennessee Titans. So they're in pretty good shape. Seattle today takes on the Rams, and that's an interesting position as well as they're fighting for a playoff spot, but the division championship still up in the air. We could see Los Angeles, who's at the number 6 position, jump to the number 3 position in reality if they win the division. And then Seattle could drop down and fight Tampa Bay for that top spot at the number 5 or number 6 spot. Arizona right now holding on to the 7th spot at 8-7. But Chicago, if they get the victory there, they will slide into that spot. Just to let you know, because of the way the tiebreaker works. So the Chicago Bears are still alive, and especially with Arizona and Chicago, week number 17 will be a big-time week in reality for them, and we'll talk about that in just a moment as well. So looking on the other side as far as the AFC is concerned, Kansas City, they haven't clinched it, but they might as well have. All they got to do is get a victory. Kansas City today takes on Atlanta. So looking at that, Buffalo also in action. The Buffalo Bills, Buffalo. Who they got? I'm looking on here, Bills. I mean Buffalo, B-U-F-F. That's what B-U-F. What I'm looking for. Where are they at? Oh, they're on Monday Night Football. That's why. All right, so Monday Night Football against New England. So take a look at that. So, that whole fighting for the top spot, Buffalo, who knows? Pittsburgh in pretty good shape right now with where it all, even though the 3-game losing streak, we will probably talk about that. They have Indy, a tough football team who's at the number 6 spot. As far as that is concerned, also fighting the Tennessee Titans in reality to get a win. So Tennessee, if they drop to Green Bay, that's going to be very interesting for the division of football. Cleveland still hanging out and doing what they need to do in order to try to they get the Jets this week, possibly getting the win. But with Miami getting the victory, believe it or not, from yesterday, they dropped. Even with the victory last night, they dropped because of the way the tiebreakers work. They were in the number 6 position yesterday before the game. They dropped to the number 10, but that's because of tiebreakers within the AFC, which says they had to win. Baltimore, right there on the outside, looking to try to get in. They have the Giants this week. And that could be a very interesting positioning there and how Miami goes. Now, we haven't talked about that game, but I'll get to you in a moment. The Vegas Raiders have been eliminated with the loss last night. So now Baltimore and Miami and Indianapolis and Cleveland all fighting for a spot. Any of them could go. Cleveland, Indianapolis, if they take the loss, that could be really, really bad for them. So they have got to watch it. I mean watch it. So the way the AFC and the NFC is sitting, it's interesting. We'll find out today. A lot of things will be solved. A lot of things will be put in more of a perspective as far as that is concerned. So I'm really interested to see what happens here as far as the wild card is concerned. That being said, of course, that's the name of this show.
Dig it, sucker?
I know I can dig it. We're going to bring on the man, the myth. Look at that smile. Had a bad, not just a bad week, but not the kind of week he wanted had last week. It is the man, Bryce from Brooklyn. Good morning, my friend. How you doing? Look at that. Look at that smile. Looking good. What's going on, my brother?
Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
All of them.
And all that good stuff, man.
Yes.
How's your holidays been?
Oh, they've been great, man. I made out like a bandit. I just had day number 2 of my 12 days of coffee that I got. Oh, I'm telling you right now, that was the baddest gift ever. I got 12 pots of coffee, all different flavors and everything. I'm telling you right now, that's the hottest. I mean, I got some other good stuff too, but that's my favorite. So you get a little taste of everything around the world. Irish cream, first pot I had really, really good. So, but
Nice.
yeah, good stuff. I hope you're doing well. I see you got a different background. Are you not home? Or are you?
Yeah, I'm visiting family back in Pittsburgh.
So you got up and decided to make the trip. Now, how are you feeling? I know Suicide Watch was probably set for you, and I can understand going 3 in a row. But I will tell you right now, that was, and not only that. Jim Obie, who's not going to be able to join us today, he was laughing his ass off all day long. You know that was big time. So, yeah, and here's what I'm going to tell you, what I see. Already, fans, by the way, in case you didn't know, fans are stupid. In case you didn't know, they're not all that bright. In fact, some of their takes in reality, when you sit and watch the internet, which I do, I enjoy watching, and especially takes from a football team who's lost 3 in a row after winning 11 in a row. Of course, you're getting the kind of nonsense.
Oh, that was terrible. Crazy knucklehead are terrible.
Oh, how terrible they played. But here's the nonsense. I just can't believe some of the crap that comes out of people's mouth, that Ben Roethlisberger needs to retire. Ben Roethlisberger, if he wants to, and this is totally up to him, he's got at least 2 more years, if not more, Bryce. And the nonsense that I hear from people about that, it just really drives me nuts. Talk a little bit about Ben Roethlisberger. Granted, he didn't play well, but he also put all that on his shoulders too, and he didn't let anybody else take the blame.
Oh man, okay. Let's get into this. First of all, I'm so glad Obie is not on this show. Because I can't believe I'm saying this.
Yeah, oh.
My worst nightmares are actually coming true, to where I thought my greatest victory was going to be Mason Rudolph, Ben sits, knocks the Browns out, and it's completely going in reverse.
Oh yes.
They may knock us out, but we'll get to that. They may knock us out. That makes me so sick that I almost want to throw up on my laptop. That's number 1. Number 2.
Sorry, a little bit.
It's that bad. I know. Here's the thing with Ben Roethlisberger. I think if you look at Ben Roethlisberger, fans are going to be reactionary, meaning they're prisoners of the moment. And in the moment, they're like, oh, get rid of Ben. He's done. It's over for Ben. He shouldn't be, Ben shouldn't be, the quarterback anymore.
Blasphemy! The blasphemy!
It is. Having said that, because that's the show, while I don't go there, there's a couple things with that. Number 1, in that first half, that's as bad as Ben Roethlisberger has ever played.
That's true.
Sonny, he looked, as we say in Pittsburgh, he looked washed. Not washed, washed.
Oh, that was terrible. Crazy knucklehead are terrible.
he looked washed. It wasn't even so much the play calling as it was guys were wide open over the middle of the field, deep middle. He won't throw it. He couldn't. It was like he didn't know what he was seeing.
Exactly.
And I think this has been a little bit, even when Ben's playing real well, it's been a little bit of a bugaboo type of defense where people, and the Bengals were smart. They walk all these guys up and then they drop them out.
Yes.
So you got to make quick decisions on the fly, and that defense has always given Ben a little bit of problems. When Rex Ryan did it, when Greg Williams did it, I suspect we're going to see that today, and we're going to see it next week until we show that we can beat it.
What's the old saying? Film doesn't lie, right?
Film doesn't lie.
That's the old saying. Film doesn't lie. And if you don't think for 2 seconds right now that the Indianapolis Colts have not been all over that film and got exactly what's going on and seen what worked, seen that what didn't, and they'll be all over that. And this is where I was looking at this game. That right now, Steelers are in a place where they quite possibly can drop 4 in a row. And listen, after doing what they did, obviously, going 11-0. I don't care. Everybody says, well, look at who they played and all that crap. Listen, those division games, they're a couch potato quarter flip every single week when they play each other. Okay, so you almost have to flip the coin every week. So, but this week, as far as what they did and what worked for Indianapolis, or mark that, what worked for the Bengals, okay? Listen, we're still talking about the Bengals here. This is not a good football team. But I think you said it sometime. Every once in a while, someone, regardless how good you are, and this could be Tom Brady, it could be Aaron Rodgers, it could be Drew Brees. I mean, they're just gonna drop a bad load one week, and that's exactly what happened here. Now, granted, the defense did not play all that great, but at the same time, I look at it, wait a second, they didn't play all that bad. It's a low-scoring football game, and they kept them within shot in order for Big Ben to win the game. That's the reason why he put it all on his shoulders.
Listen, when you've got Ben, he didn't that first half. He played better in the second, but still, a terrible performance. That first half was awful. But then in the second half, as they started to figure things out, some of the same ugly problems rear their heads, and it's this. The Pittsburgh Steelers' issues. From a player standpoint, they started to get more movement on the offensive line. Benny Snell ran the ball a little bit better. That was good to see. But again, it's not like the Bengals are super stout, but they couldn't run on them the first game. Right. So that was good to see. The issue starts with the Steelers coordinators. It's like the defensive, Keith Butler comes out. I think he does very well. But then teams start to adjust, and the Pittsburgh Steelers don't adjust well to other people's adjustments defensively. They have a lot of talent, but so then there are plays that can be made. When you look at the offensive coordinator, they come out and they are awful to start games. The script is not working. It's like they haven't studied and haven't prepared in a way that sets them up for success. And then towards the end, they'll start to try to figure some things out on what they can do. But by then, the offense takes too long to get it together. They've put too much pressure on Ben to throw it 50 times a game. It's so Ben. The offense is so Ben reliant that there's no balance. And they should have fixed this at the end of 2018. Going into 2019, my thought was they're going to start running downhill. They're going to start to not transition because Ben was still, he's still good, Ben Roethlisberger. But they're going to say, okay, we're not going to do what we did in 18. Ben had a good year, threw it too much, too many turnovers. We're going to make sure this offense is more balanced. We're going to build an offense where we can run downhill, play action pass, and do more things. They didn't do it. They lost Ben. They couldn't do anything on offense towards the middle of the season. They just started to completely fall off. And they have not fixed the issue. The offense is too quarterback reliant. I know that sounds like, well, you got to have a great quarterback in today's time to win. Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, you have to be able to make defenses defend every play of grass. And your offense can't get to the point where it becomes so one-dimensional that teams don't have to prepare for other things. And the Pittsburgh Steelers had an opportunity beginning of 2019 to do that, and they have not done that consistently. And now it has totally caught up to them.
Oh yeah,
where they are having to adjust things on the fly and do things that they're really not great at doing because they haven't got the personnel or the practice time to get consistent at it. So they're in trouble.
The word I think is complacent. When you look at what they've done, through the first 11 weeks, and then they seen the schedule. They're not stupid, okay? They seen the Bengals heading here, and they know who the Bengals are without who they don't have. All right, so they got complacent. They walked in there. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, you want to talk about a trap game. They fell into a trap game. They completely overlooked the Bengals. They thought they'd go in and win that football game just for showing up. And that right there was a bad thing. And before they knew it, they were in a dogfight, and they didn't know how to get out of it. Like you said, they didn't make the halftime adjustments. The Bengals, they mixed it up on them on some of the things that they did figure out they were doing, and then they mixed it up on them. And the main reason why I had this game, I wanted to watch this game, and so what I did is I saw where the score was. I seen where it was going. I still had Red Zone on, but I plopped on that game right there and watched it and seen exactly what happened in the second half. They didn't make enough adjustments to win the football game, and they kept doing, and the things that they thought they were going to get from the first half, they didn't get in the second half because they totally turned the page on them. And that right there, you say whatever you want. That's great coaching. That's knowing what you think was going to happen. And, sometimes you got to do the Karnak and figure out what's going to happen in the second half. And Cincinnati knew exactly what they were going to do in order to make those adjustments, and they had a second game plan on them. That's the only thing, and that's coaching. And sometimes coaching is going to come out and get the victory for you, more so than what you're seeing out on the football field as far as the players are concerned. Got guys joining us there. Bryce said, there you go. There you go. He says the Steelers are done. He's marking them out. I think that just cracked. Look at this one right here. He says he loses the division. That would be something that you would not be able to live down there, Bryce. I'm telling you right now.
And Sonny, let me tell you something. First of all, two things. One, it shouldn't have, regardless of what happened, it shouldn't have mattered because the Steelers are a better team.
There's no question.
They had no business losing that football game. The Bengals had their offensive line is in shatters. They're on a third-string quarterback. I mean, that's one of the worst losses, maybe the worst loss in Mike Tomlin's tenure. That's the type of loss. That's the type of loss I would never say fire. I'm not saying they're going to fire Mike Tomlin, but that is in and of itself in a vacuum. And I've been saying this. That is a fireable loss because of the context of how you lose, it matters. And the fact that they went in there with a division on the line and lost to a 2-10 team who was down all of these players, that is an indictment of the coaching and the players. They got to own that.
Yeah.
They're not gonna, and look, if it wasn't Mike Tomlin, there would be talk of is there going to be a change? Because my second point is that, and I hope I'm wrong, I think they're going to run it in reverse.
Oh,
and go 11-0 and finish 11-6.
Wow.
Keeping it real.
And that is gonna give me nightmares for 10 years. I can see it happening. Because if you can't beat the Bengals in that thing, then who can you beat?
Exactly. If you can't be, and especially it's all about December, right? I mean, we talk about it all the time. Whether or not a football team is going to be good, bad, or indifferent, it's got to be about what's going to happen in December. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have been a victim of December so many times in the last 20 years. It's unbelievable. But interestingly enough, he had to come to Jesus after he died for that hit. Maybe. By the way, doing the T.O. kind of thing. Listen, you're not T.O. I mean, listen, T.O. is who he was, but T.O.
Sonny, hold on, Sonny.
Juju can't even hold.
Hold on, Sonny. I'm going to comment. I am going to comment on this one quick thing. No one cared when Joey Porter every week was going midfield with his with his abs showing and yelling at the other team and flexing on them and telling me he wanted to fight. And no one cared. You know why? Because Joey balled out. The problem with Juju is Juju can play, but you haven't balled out enough to dance. And
has he ever balled out? I mean,
yes. Oh, absolutely.
Has he ever really balled out?
2017, 2018, Juju was balling.
Yeah.
But now that you're the number one guy,
Antonio Brown on the other.
Now that you're the number one guy, I think Juju's game is like Hines Ward, and they need to build the receiving room around that. But now that you're number one guy, starting in 19, you haven't balled out the same. So when you do stuff like that, it's gonna hit a little different. Now, if you were balling like Joey Porter, who would flex on you and then go smack you in the mouth, it doesn't hit as much. People didn't care. So I'm not worried about that, but I am giving a reason as to why people are saying something. Because when Joey was doing it, nobody cared. But Juju's doing it, he's not balling out the same, and they're losing. It's going to get more highlights. But I don't put a lot of stock in that.
Well, and that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. We're talking about the Pittsburgh game going up against Indianapolis. They got a defense over there. They got a Phillip Rivers that decided that instead of playing inconsistently, maybe consistently will help us win. Guess what? That's what we have been seeing from Indianapolis for the last 4 to 5 weeks. From Phillip Rivers, you're still getting the defense, and I'm bringing this up right now because I know Obie is watching. You know, the pick of this football game, it's not. I'll just turn it over to Bryce. Who do you have in this football game? And most importantly,
I have the Indianapolis Colts. I just my heart wants to say go Steelers, be all in, but after watching that Bengals game and watching them lose to that sorry team and play the way they played, I just don't think they have enough to get it turned around this week. They might even play a little better. The only way they win this game is if they rattle Phillip Rivers to the point where he has a bunch of turnovers and just sets them up beautifully. Because with the way they play right now, they're just not playing complementary football. And it's just, the defense will pick it up, then the offense can't do anything. And then the defense will have a little bit of a lag, and then, and then the offense will pick it up. They're not playing complementary football. They're making too many mistakes, and I just don't trust that their coordinators can put together the right play calls at the right time to help this team get out of the funk that it's in, along with the poor play, along with the offensive line. And they still refuse to just make their running game a downhill run team. They still want to run wide and do weird stuff. That's why I'm sorry. My heart wants to believe in them, but I'm going with my head and saying, Colts are going to win. I can see the table running in reverse.
Man,
I'm already preparing myself for it. I'm already preparing to have to watch Obie's face whenever I come on this TV show. And I can't believe it. Now, having said that, because that is the name of the show, Browns down 4 wide receivers, so they better worry about themselves playing the Jets. Because the Jets did get a win. So, but if I'm only talking about us,
won a lot more games in reality, but they started tanking, and then the players decided, listen, we're not going to be on this football team next year anyway. We're still going to get paid for the rest of the year, even if they cut us. Why don't we go out and win some football games, or at least try? Okay, listen, they're not an 0-16. They should have won 4 or 5 games this year. Not enough to obviously make a shot for the playoffs. Not enough for anything. But 4 or 5 games out there, they had the opportunity to win the football game, and this was a tank. And last week was proof of the pudding that the players are not interested in losing games, regardless of what their record is, to help a football team where they won't be next year. I mean, good 80% of that football team will be gone next year. Well, maybe not that much, but in between 65 and 75, in between 65 and 70% of that team will be gone. They're like, screw this, we're going to go out and win. Not only now. Just for Sonny's, sake, right there at that pick right there, their number 2 would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'd love to see him go get some Trevor. I'd be all over that in reality. But they also got a lot of other work Jacksonville does. But starting at the quarterback position, you need to beat back up that defense that you decide to let go. And, so Tony down there, and I'm talking about Tony Khan, he needs to get back to football. All right. Right now, he's signing all the players in the wrestling organization and spending his money over there. His attention is over at AEW. It needs to be on the Jaguars. So that's one. And that's not just a joke. That's just true. They signed Sting, for God's sake. I got news for you. Sting isn't going anywhere for nothing. Okay. So let's put that kind of mentality in trying to bring in your football team and try to be at least not embarrassing. Maybe that they've been embarrassing all year long. So up on record, and I wrote it down, and I knew I had to hurt because I was like, wait, no. But here's the thing. I'm going to
the Bills.
I'm going to Bills, and I'm going to tell you the reason why.
Oh, okay.
I'm going Steelers. And the main reason why I am is because of Phillip Rivers. Okay, the odds.
Yeah, I don't really believe in that guy.
This guy's been playing good for the last 5 weeks. Okay, this guy's got a crapper set. Okay, this one's ready. I mean, he's gonna go in and he's gonna drop a brown stud all over the football field. Okay, it starts this week because this guy cannot be consistent. He doesn't know how to be consistent, and most importantly, Bryce, he doesn't know how to win the big games. This is a big game for the Chargers, and the reason being why it is all you got to do is go and take a look at where the wild cards are sitting and where they are. If Pittsburgh loses, they're going to fall out of that, and they will move up. Hold on, it wasn't Pittsburgh, it's Baltimore. You've got to watch out for Baltimore, but right there in the division, you got Cleveland. Cleveland decides to start winning a football game. There could be a reverse mode here. So when I think about pressure, when I think about teams that can do it, I think Mike Tomlin. I don't think Indianapolis Colts and Phillip Rivers. I love their coach. He was the quarterback coach. His name is Frank Reich. I love that guy. But has that helped Phillip Rivers? Maybe, maybe not. But the odds say that he can't do this consistently because he's never done it in his career. So that's the reason why I'm going to go ahead and it's not even a stretch. I am definitely going Steelers. And not only that, I think they win, and I think they win very well. But the main thing that they need to do outside of Phillip Rivers, they better figure out when they start messing up how to make those adjustments. And they didn't do it last week. And that being said, of course, that's the name of the show.
You didn't know?
Just in case you didn't now, it's Cuervo on a Sunday morning, the fine co-host of this program. I'll add him to the stream and bring him on in. It's Cuervo on a Sunday morning. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
What's going on, guys?
Wearing an ugly hat today. You want to talk about? Oh man, you guys picked a great time to get the Jacksonville Jaguars. Because you're still hanging. Hanging by their fingernails to the playoffs. But it is what it is. But going to this game, as we already heard, Bryce from Brooklyn has decided no Steelers this week. I'm going Steelers. Steelers aren't going to lose 4 games in a row. I don't even care who they're playing. They're just not going to lose 4 games in a row. This is a team that goes into the playoffs and knows that what this important is. They decided to walk in with the big thing against the Bungles, and they decided to trip over their big thing, and that's what ended up happening. What are you looking at in this game there, Cuervo, when you're talking about the Steelers in this one?
Happy holidays, man. Happy holidays, Cuervo.
Same to you, Bryce. Couple things before I get serious. I got to start off my day with a couple of laughs. First and foremost, on behalf of every Chicago Bear, I just want to make sure you guys see that right there.
Yeah.
On behalf of every fan, I'm going to get to you later, Sonny. Don't worry. Look, I shouldn't even be on the show today, right? Because our teams are going to go to battle today.
Oh yes.
First and foremost, on behalf of every Chicago Bear fan, around the country, around the world.
Okay.
We want to personally thank the San Francisco 49ers for their performance yesterday. The late Christmas gift that organization gave every single Bear fan.
Oh man!
And I have friends too that are Niner fans, so I'm going to call them personally and thank them too, because now, as I've heard about 10 times last night after that game, the Bears control their own destiny. Well, we'll see what happens week 17. All right, well, even today, because look, yes, it's Jacksonville, but that doesn't guarantee anything.
Nope.
It does not guarantee. And Mike Glennon can go out there and light that defense up if the Bears are not ready to play.
Hey, didn't Mike Glennon used to play for the Chicago Bears?
He sure the hell did, Sonny. and guess who his backup was? A rookie by the name of Mitch Trubisky. So that's number one. Number two, Bryce, you never answered my question. Has he mentioned the conversation he had with Jesus? No, that didn't happen.
He had a one-on-one.
He had a one-on-one. He said, "No, you're not ready yet. Get back down there and get back on the field." So, but no, I mean, you're right though. I mean, for him to be the number one receiver, he really hasn't I shouldn't say he hasn't panned out, but it feels like Claypool has been the one that's really done a lot of the grinding and a lot of the work, the big plays and stuff like that.
Been quiet the last couple weeks.
He has, but he also had some big games. And last but not least, again for Bryce, I made a comment on your Facebook post. It is part of my entertainment every week. I look forward to the names that you give the team that the Steelers play against. This week it's the Indianapolis Dolts. So
It is the Dolts.
Yeah, it's the Dolts. So
Jesus told Juju, you got more work to do, man. Get back
Yeah,
there.
and by the way, that's a combination of Bolts for the Chargers, where he came from, and Colts. It's a combo.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. But honestly, 3 games in a row, this is not the time to go cold, Bryce. I don't know how nervous you are, but if I'm a Steelers fan, I'm feeling a little nervous about the situation because
I'm already, listen, as I was saying, I've already prepared myself for what I believe is going to happen. I don't want to believe it, but I'm going with my head. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to run the table in reverse after going 11-0.
And they're oh my God! Is there going to be anybody in the stands?
No.
Well, who do they have next week? Is
The
it Cleveland?
Browns. The Browns.
Oh, and it comes down to week 17. And by the way, just to let you know, a little scheduling note, by the way, Obie will be available for when we talk about that game come week 17. I'm sure.
Hey, listen, I don't run in line. I'll be here.
So it will be. What a great, we could not have set that up better in reality.
This can be Bryce and Obie.
Listen, my dream scenario right now is that while we may lose to the Colts, the Brownies mess around and lose to the Jets, and the division is and we win the division. That's what I can. That's the only thing that I can hope for right now.
Yeah, but just to fill everybody in, Bryce has picked Cleveland. I know that. I know he had to puke right in his throat, when he had to make that pick. But it is the Jets. I think the Jets players are trying to make a statement as far as that is concerned. I know. Folks, I think there's something to what I'm saying. These football players, listen, they play they play for money, don't get me wrong. But they want to win. Okay. And I'm telling you right now, the Jets, I may have to do it. I may have to pull it. We'll talk about the game a little bit later. Lots of stuff to talk about. All right. So before we go to that, all right, I want to go to a video. Okay. Normally, I don't do a lot of video because they have a habit of cutting me off on it. Of course, afterwards. But during the show, I'm going to put up this video. This is the last couple minutes of the Miami Raider game. I just want you to watch this. It's only 2 minutes. Just watch this. This is
his third make tonight. 33 of 36 on the year now. Been productive when he's gotten it. Not nearly as many times as he normally does. Carr pumps once, pumps again, extends the play. Derek Carr in that
look at this.
Locked it up for Aguilar.
Great play. Great play, right? Great play.
The veteran Aguilar weaving his way. He will go. Touchdown Raiders. Well, they had to settle for a field goal.
This is the play. I believe Tarvin on.
Timeout flagged out as he finds Ford.
No, it's the next play. This
5 to choose from on first down from the 41. It's Gaskin shedding the tackler. Miles Gaskin to the outside.
Where's the tackling? This game's rigged. That's a Tarvin quote, by the way.
A touchdown!
Up in your face, and we are going to challenge you defensively.
On second down, Carr given time, loads up, wants Aguilar again, behind the defense, can't get there, but a flag!
That's a tough call in a critical situation.
Defense number 24. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
It's a 49-yard penalty. Raiders 0 for 9 on third down tonight. And with a hard count, everybody's moving. Who's this going to go on?
Neutral zone infraction.
Wow.
Defense number 53.
Take care of their own business. On second and goal, Jacobs again. He will slide down to the 1.
Sliding down. Man,
before the field goal. That's exactly what they'll do. Here we go. Carlson from 22 yards for the lead.
Unbelievable.
Low snap, put down. He's got it.
I get it, but
Fitzpatrick can pull it.
Here it comes.
He got hit as he lofted it up. Blown coverage. Mac Hollins is inbounds at the 41. He hits it right down the middle. And the Dolphins somehow, some way, take the lead with 1 second.
Well, that's what it is, and I'll take But here's the thing. I get what they were doing, and listen. I understand. By the way, Richard Sullivan checking in. Thanks for checking in with us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Of course, he's talking about the Browns and Steelers, and that's what he's talking about. So
Jets.
But I want to go back to that game because my guy, and I get what they're doing. Listen, I don't have the highest football IQ in the world. Okay, I'll come out and admit it, but I knew exactly what they were doing. But that slide down at the 1, you make them have to score a touchdown more so than kick the freaking field goal. Now, I know it's easy to sit here and be the Monday morning quarterback, or in this case, Sunday morning quarterback in reality. But, man, it's one thing to think that you can't stop them to make a field goal. I get it because you saw it. The big play put them down there in field goal range, okay? But to stop them from scoring a touchdown, that is different. That is coaching. That is no trust in your defense. The Raiders blew that game. I'm telling you right now, they should have went in, and I get it. A minute 55 is a lot of times. But the difference in that game is that the Miami Dolphins had one timeout. They only had one. So when you got that much time and they only have one timeout, you force them to keep it in the middle. You force them to get tackled in bounds. You take up that time and everything else. The Raiders blew that. That was bad coaching. Make them score the touchdown instead of kicking the field goal, and you give up one big play and you're right there. I don't know. I'm going to ask Bryce because, my football IQ is not all that high. I get exactly what they were doing to try to get out there, and they only had a few moments to get into it. Bryce, was that the right move in reality when it comes to coaching, or was that a coach that is definitely afraid of their defense, thinking that they could score a touchdown within a minute and 55?
it's really, to me, it's really a results bias type of thing. If it works, you're talking about, wow, that's really good job by Gruden managing the clock. And then but then in the odd chance, you get what happened the other day, and it's like, why don't you go for the touchdown? Here's how I view that. I'm a little old school. I'm always about getting 7 over 3. Having said that, I like the fact that they ran the clock down. Maybe try to go for the touchdown on 3rd down. You get up, they have a little less time, and then you put your defense out there. Now, obviously, that also maybe goes to Gruden not feeling, because they gave up the big touchdown to Gaskins.
Yes.
Or weren't they going to stop him? But you have a better chance of keeping them from getting 5 points, or that 7, right? Catching you if you're up by 5, than having a pass interference call or them throw some fluky thing, and now they're in field goal range, particularly when you've got kickers who have a range of 57 yards nowadays with no fans, no pressure. It's like kicking in practice. These guys are just booting the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I personally would have ran it down a little bit, but then I'd have went for the touchdown. Now, let's say they stop me for the touchdown. Then you kick the field goal. But I like them managing the clock. I just would have went for the touchdown on 3rd down.
I think I get managing the clock, and I get it, but you're the Raiders, for God's sake. Okay, that's number one. You got to know. There's an old saying: you got to know who you are. Okay, and the Raiders are not that great, and they should know that. Okay, especially within the division where they're fighting with a rookie quarterback over in San Diego.
They played it not to lose, Sonny. They played it not to lose.
Exactly what it is. They played not to lose, and it's almost like the prevent defense preventing you from winning the football game. So, Cuervo, when you're in that situation, if you had the headsets on, which you got it on, that's why I said it. What would you have called? Would you call for the touchdown if you were Chucky, or would you have done exactly what Gruden did?
Now, normally, I am for milking as much clock as you can and, putting that trust in your defense. In this situation, though, because of the situation that the Raiders were in, as far as, look, you got to do everything you can to win the game, keep your playoff hopes alive. But we've seen this go both ways. We've seen teams that do take the touchdown and they still wind up losing the football game. So there's really, to me, it's no right or wrong answer as to whether you go for the 6 or whether you go for the 3. It's all about the situation, trusting your defense, and your defense getting the job done. And for teams like what happened to the Atlanta Falcons earlier this year, what happened to the Raiders last night.
Yes.
The issue with those two situations is it didn't matter about the 6 and the 3. What mattered is that their defense failed them.
Yes.
And that's the bottom line.
Yep.
I don't mean to sound like Stone Cold Steve Austin here, but that is the bottom line.
Said so.
That's look. So to me, I don't think it's right or wrong whether it's about the 6 or the 3. It's your defense needs to step it the hell up, and those teams failed them. So
that was
what it really is.
To watch. Listen, I had a long day. And when I got home, after what Tampa Bay was doing to Detroit, I laid down. I woke up at halftime of the 3rd game where Arizona went ahead and blew that game. Of course, Cuervo was feeling. But I'm telling you right now, I was losing my mind during that game. I watched that whole game, and I was losing my mind. But here's one thing: I want to go back and be able to as far as that game is concerned, and when you look at where a football team is. And I think as far as where Miami is heading, they're obviously not feeling good about their rookie quarterback.
I told you so. I told you so. I told you so.
I'm telling you right now.
I told you so.
Listen. This was a bad move, and I'm gonna show you why it was a bad move. Okay, listen. We all knew about Tua and what he was, quote unquote, capable of, or what he was going to live up to. I'm going to tell you the difference between Tua and Ryan Fitzpatrick, which, by the way, anybody watch this show, I hate this guy's nickname. I don't necessarily like him, but at the time when they made that switch, I wasn't a big lover of it. I'm going to show you one picture, okay, that tells you the reason why you play Ryan Fitzpatrick over Tua, even though they've already said Tua is going to start in Week 17. Here's the reason why right here. I'm telling you right now, look at that face, okay? That face right there, that is a face of confidence. That's a face of having fun. When you get the rookie in there, you don't get that. You don't get that calmness. When you go into week number 17, when you're playing for your playoff life, you want that guy, a guy that's calm, a guy that's confident, a guy that thinks he can get the job done. Already, Tua's been pulled out of 3 games this year because of bad performances. Brian Flores already said, if they see that going, he'll go ahead and pull the trigger again. Yeah, that's what Brian Flores said. Now, I'm telling you right now, this is a big mistake. Week 17, you put in the guy that can do this right there. That face right there is the reason why you start him. And listen, Tua gracefully accepted what was going on. Love the fact they got the victory. I'll give them that all day long. But right now, you're in a playoff. You make the playoffs. Who are you starting in your playoff game in the wild card? Because you're not getting the bye in week number 1. Whoever the hell you're going to be playing will be the number 2 spot, because they'll probably get that last spot, because they actually winning that game, they actually dropped from the 6th spot to the 7th spot just because of the in-division records and stuff like that. They actually dropped the spot winning that football game, which you didn't think would happen. So they're right now holding on to that last spot, that number 7 spot. Right there. I'm telling you right now, if you're going to start at Bryce, who are you going to start at the quarterback position for the Miami Dolphins with your playoff life on the line?
I know you weren't a fan of this. I understand why they did it. I'm going to stick with Tua. And, I think mentally Tua is still there. He understands what's going on. So I think you stick with Tua knowing that, and he knows, listen, you get in there and play well, you're there. You don't, this guy's coming in, and we know what he can do. So I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with them doing that. Now, if Tua plays really bad, Sonny, they might make the switch for the playoffs and go back. But no, I think they're committed to Tua. This is the plan. They're not like they're winning now, and that's good. But this is very interesting because it seems Flores is committed to the future and in the now to say, this guy's going to play now. He's going to take his lumps now. We know we have Fitzpatrick, and we're probably not going to have Fitzpatrick next year.
Absolutely.
He's a 100% guy, but we're going to let him take his lumps now, knowing that we can go to the bullpen. It's an odd situation, but I think he also knows this team, we're not making a deep – it's tough with a coach to think this, but I don't think he believes he can make a deep playoff run right now. He knows also, Sonny, you don't want to admit this, that Ryan Fitzpatrick is a little bit of fool's gold because he'll come in and he'll do some good things, but you know what's around the corner. The 4-interception game is right there. That's who he is.
And he's very capable.
And he can throw you into thinking, oh, this guy can be our quarterback.
Absolutely. It is there.
I mean, you are on this show deceiving the people, acting like that's not who you know he is. You know that's why they went to Tua. They're like, Tua is the now and the future. We know who Fitzpatrick is. Yes,
we know who Ryan Fitzpatrick is.
In the moment, we know he'll play better than Tua at times because he's more experienced. But they don't feel he's better than Tua.
Yeah.
And so that's why they're going to stick with Tua.
Absolutely. So if you were the coach, who would you start? Now, I know you're looking at the perspective you go Tua. Who are you starting?
I would start Tua.
Got it. Cuervo, I'll give you the opportunity. Who are you starting in that game, week 17?
They're playing I know it really doesn't matter, but they're playing
the Bills, I think.
Buffalo? Okay. Honestly, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with starting Tua because I don't know that Buffalo really cares too much about winning that game, because I think they're secured with their spot. So I think Miami is going to wind up winning that game next week regardless. But here's my bigger concern, guys, and I might be taking this into a whole different direction. I'm going to say something that a lot of people won't agree with, and forgive me, Sonny, if you get emails, or Bryce, if you give me that crazy eye look. Here's the deal.
Here we go.
Here's the deal. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're a Dolphins fan, I don't think Brian Flores is the right coach for this football team. I don't care that they have 10 wins this year. I don't care about that. Hey, you know what? Sometimes teams are very fortunate and they wind up, things go their way, and that's what has happened with the Miami Dolphins this year.
How dare you say such a thing? That is insanity.
Steven, if you interrupt me again, if you interrupt me one more time, first of all, it was blasphemous of him to do that. A blasphemy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why Brian Flores. And this is gonna be so enjoy it, Dolphin fans. This is gonna be your one good season. I'm gonna tell you that right now. With Brian Flores as your head coach, this is your one good season. So enjoy the ride while you can, because it ain't gonna happen again. The reason why Brian Flores is not the right coach for any football team is because the guy can't make decisions. You can't continue to go back and forth and back. That's why Matt Nagy's not the right coach for the Bears. That's why Doug Marrone needs to leave Jacksonville. That's why, all these coaches that keep flopping back and forth with their quarterbacks, this isn't college, dude. That's why guys like Mike Tomlin are so respected around the league. Bill Belichick is respected around the league. Because for him, even though Cam Newton's playing like garbage for the New England Patriots, guess who's out there every single Sunday, unless he's injured? Cam Newton is starting for that, because Bill Belichick knows how to make decisions, stick with them, and whether people support him or not, he does not care. He is responsible for that football team and their success. Brian Flores, the only reason this is working is because of the Fitz magic. And Sonny, I don't care how much you hate that name. It's magic. Look, how do you have a hand in your face and still complete that pass, dude? How is that?
Big time face mask.
Yeah, that should have been a 30-yard penalty for how ugly that face mask was. You should have gotten hit twice in the flag.
This stinks! This is total BS!
But again, that's why Mike Tomlin is respected, Bill Belichick is respected, even Jim Harbaugh got my respect when he decided to stick with Colin Kaepernick, because he made a decision and he stuck with it. Brian Flores can't stick to making decisions, and you can laugh all you want to, but that's why. All right, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna hear this. We're gonna revisit this a year from now when the Dolphins are 5-10 instead of 10-5. You watch.
Bryce from Brooklyn, I'm telling you right now that the face that you made right there was just about as classic as it comes as far as what this show is all about. So
I don't have. Listen, let me respond to that. Actually, it's funny. I don't necessarily have a problem with Cuervo thinking that Flores he doesn't believe in Flores as a coach. Last year, I didn't believe in Flores as a coach. I didn't like the way he handled the Kenny Stills situation. I'm like, this guy's already thinking, we had another one of these genius guys. I actually think he's done a very good job with the team. Where I'm giving Cuervo the face is Fitz magic. Can we please stop with that? We know who this guy is. I have a lot of respect for Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think he is a good backup quarterback.
That's the one right there. That's the one right there.
I think he is a good backup quarterback, but we know who he is. Like, yes, he was good performances, And then right around the corner is the Jets game from 2015, where he had to beat the Bills and Rex Ryan and threw 3 picks. This is who the guy is. So to act like he's taking them to the promised land is just not reality. Sure, he plays well in spots. He'll get you some wins. I don't have a problem with that. But that's not where the Dolphins are trying to go, particularly when they draft this guy at number 6. They want to see, do we have this guy? We feel we got a defense that can hold. He gives us an element to run the football. We're going to put him in. Yes, he's going to flounder. Fitzpatrick, play your role. This is who you are. You've had a good career, but you're not going to be here next year. And I don't mind Flores doing that.
Yep. That's right. That image right now will live in infancy. I love that picture. Bryce,
see this?
Bryce, I know.
You see this? You see this? You see what this? You know what this is, guys? That's me pushing your guys' buttons in exactly the way I wanted to.
He's the mastermind of pushing buttons. It is what it is.
But I got to roll because it's the top of the hour.
Yeah, top of the hour.
I'm going to be paying attention to this Jacksonville Bears game. And we're going to see how this goes.
It should be interesting. Should be a good game, too, by the way, just to let everybody know. Bryce, always good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Always great seeing y'all.
Guys, so good. He definitely the best-looking one out of us all. We're lucky to have him. You, when you take the hat off and you actually come in here, you might be Ty right there. Good morning, friend. How are you, by the way?
I'm good, Sonny. I'm good. How was your Christmas, my friend?
Fantastic. Lots of good coffee. I got 12 pots of coffee coming. Oh, man.
Whoa.
Good stuff. Oh, yeah. 12 pots of Christmas is what it was. And good stuff, different flavors and stuff like that. So I had cinnamon this morning. So there it is. And by the way, back to the games. You go back to it. Look how the Saints played in this week. They are definitely trying to fight that battle again. Go back to the wild card. Look where they're at. They get that victory. They put some pressure on Green Bay in reality to hold on to that top spot. Green Bay is going to have to win. If they win, they'll get it. Green Bay has Tennessee. It's not going to be the easiest thing. But look at next week, and you take a look at the Saints have Carolina next week, and the Green Bay Packers. They have, where's their schedule? Who they got?
Us.
Yeah, they have Chicago, and they'll be playing for their playoff lives in reality. So it'll be an interesting week number 17 to figure out that top spot in the NFC. So let's pay some bills, man. Let's go warm up your coffee, kiss your lady, and all that good stuff, and we're going to get back to it. We're going to take the quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. When we come back, we're going to dive into the games that are going on. We already got the first play. By the way, on the Pittsburgh game, who do you have as they're playing the Indianapolis Colts? I did not get your pick on that one.
Is it the Colts or is it the Dolts? According to Bryce?
It just depends. It just depends. I think it will be the Dolts, more so. Now, just to let you know, the boss is on Indianapolis, so is Bryce and Obie, all on Indianapolis. I'm on Pittsburgh. They're not going to lose 4 in a row. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. They're at home, by the way, if that means anything. What do you think about it?
I'm going to go with the majority. I'm going to say Indy. It's hard to pick a team, even if it is the Steelers. When you're cold like the Steelers are right now.
Yes.
I mean, show me that you can bounce back before me. On this show before I pick you again to win a game. Show me you can bounce back. And then maybe in week 17 I'll pick the Steelers to finish off the season with a win.
Yep.
So I'll take the Colts today.
I just don't see 4 in a row, but of course that's the reason why we're doing the picks. We're having a lot of fun on the picks. We're all close, by the way. By the way, the boss, DC Dennis Clark, jumped back into first place because last week Bryce, let's see here. Let me just pull it back here. Bryce went 9-7, and the boss went 11-5. So there's a 2-game switch on that. The boss 141-81. Bryce at 139-83. And then it's you at 139 and 83, tied up with Bryce, and I'm 3 games behind. And so I'll probably come in last on this one. Oh, that drives me nuts, but it is what it is. So we'll do that. So we'll take the quick break here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. When we come back, we'll dive into the weeks of games that are on tap here in Week 16. We'll be right back here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. And that being said,
at Wesson General Contracting Incorporated, we're your one-stop shop for all your general contracting needs. We are locally owned and with over 20 years of experience, so roofing, gutters, sidings, fence staining, painting, foundation problems, or roof damage are no problems at all. Give us a call at 214-200-5588. That's 214-200-5588. Wesson General Contractors, proud sponsor of the Rowlett Eagles radio broadcast. Let Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors help you restore your home to its like-new condition. Need a contractor? Let us be your first stop as well as your last. We specialize in everything that others don't, such as stained concrete floors, wood spot repairs on doors and floors, stainless steel spot repairs, anti-slip on floors, and more. Want to see what kind of work we do? Check out our Facebook page and you can see the craftsmanship you'll receive and expect from Buffalo Creek Doors and Floors. Give Rodney James a call at 214-536-2607. That's 214-536-2607. Or check him out on the web at www.buffalocreekdoorsandfloors.com. This is Sonny Clark, radio voice of your Rowlett Eagles, letting you know about Liberty Air and Heat. Everybody knows what the Texas Heat can do to your air conditioning and heating systems. That's why you need the experts that deliver the best and most honest service in the Rowlett area. We provide the high-quality air conditioning and heating services that keep you more comfortable when you need it. We strive to always meet and exceed customers' expectations, competency, and accountability, as well as satisfaction. So contact Liberty Air and Heat at 469-678-9444 or visit them on the web at libertyairandheat.com. Being taken for a ride? Check out Costco Insurance, serving Texans since 1981. Bundle your home, auto, or business insurance to save a ton. Costco Insurance on the corner of Main Street and Rowlett Road, where we make insurance fun. Or check us out on the web at CostcoInsurance.com, where we always have the coffee pot on.
Yeah, but is it fresh?
The prospect of retirement can be exciting and scary at the same time. At Nest Egg Wealth Advisors, we have found many people either approaching or currently in retirement failed to truly maximize some of the benefits offered to them, primarily Social Security. What is it? How does it work? It's simply not a benefit that you start receiving at age 62. Because these decisions are so important, my firm has assembled an informational packet on Social Security. If you would like a complimentary copy of Social Security Maximization, please give our office a call today at 972-412-6064 or visit us on the web at nesteggadvice.com.
There is nothing that beats good home-cooked barbecue. Since 1941, Dickey's Barbecue has done all the cooking and you take all the credit. Whether you want real Texas brisket, Virginia ham, southern pulled pork, or fall-off-the-bone ribs, Dickey's Barbecue is the place to go. For lip-smacking, rib-tickling, knee-slapping, foot-stomping, great-tasting barbecue, come see us at Dickey's Barbecue today.
This is Sonny Clark, radio voice of your Rowlett Eagles, letting you know about Karen McKinney of Budget Blinds of Rowlett. Find a little inspiration by browsing our product, whether it be the latest trends, child safety, or smart home technology, and more. Contact Karen McKinney at 972-722-9300 or visit her on the web at budgetblinds.com/ Rowlett. You can also learn who they are, as well as their approach and products, and you can also schedule a free home consultation. Again, contact Karen at 972-722-9300 or log online, budgetblinds.com/Rowlett.
Hour number 2 of the program. That being said, our tradition continues on here in our 11th season, moving very close to the 12-year anniversary. That happens in February of the Couch Potato Sports Show. Merry Christmas to everybody. And, of course, as the sign says, right there, Happy New Year as well. Hope everybody's having a great holiday and enjoying family time. As we didn't get Obie, he's out at the shooting range with his brother-in-law. We had Bryce from Brooklyn joining us here as we got set for week number 16. And again, guys, with those victories and the losses last week, it definitely changes the look of the wild card. Let's do that. Let's take a look at the wild card real quick as we get all set and ready to rock and roll. Kansas City on top in the AFC pretty much has got a cakewalk in reality to probably bring home that final game as the Kansas City Chiefs have Atlanta. Atlanta, not a good football team at all. Buffalo right there, they're going to be fighting for it. Will they kill themselves in week number 17? That's a big question as well. Pittsburgh needing the win so they can go ahead and clinch that spot, that number 3 spot, maybe the number 4, depending on what happens with Tennessee, who is 10-4 this week. If they get the victory, they'll be battling it out there. Look at the difference between the team that's going to finish last. It's going to be worst case scenario, 10 wins. It could still end up being 6 for the NFC East, which has got off of Cleveland hanging on in reality to their playoff lives, because guess what? Miami, who was at number 6 before the game happened yesterday, even with the win, dropped down to number 7 because of the way the AFC and the playoff and tiebreakers work out. They actually ended up dropping in reality. Indianapolis moves up right there. So interesting game for the Indianapolis Colts. And, of course, as they have this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll see. And Baltimore holding on to dear life as well, as Vegas with the loss last night was eliminated, and the New England Patriots eliminated. NFC side, Green Bay, they get a victory this week. They could end up wrapping up based upon, I think if I'm not mistaken, they can wrap up that top seed depending on the situation, as long as they don't lose in week number 12. But New Orleans fighting for that spot. Seattle right now winning the division in the NFC West. However, behind them right there would be the Rams at 9 victories. So if Seattle drops the game and they have the Rams this week, a good interdivision spot for what could be the Rams jumping up to the number 3 spot and Seattle dropping down to the number 6 spot. As Arizona took the loss, they're holding on by their hairs of their chinny chin. And in reality, what we have, the Arizona Cardinals with that loss really, really put themselves in a bad position. And, especially after watching that game, I'm asking myself, are the Arizona Cardinals going to make the playoff?
I don't think so, Tim.
I don't think so as of what's going on right now. So, who knows? Week number 17 is going to be huge. Look at the schedule, week number 17, as far as that is concerned. I'll pop this up real quick and then bring them back in. Looking at Arizona, their last week, they end with the Rams in their division game. Week 17, by the way, these are pretty much all, if they're not all they're all in division games to finish it out. The key one on that one at that time could be Washington and Philadelphia for the NFC West. Tampa Bay and Atlanta, what a great way to end when you had Tampa Bay just destroy Minnesota or Detroit just yesterday. They end up getting a nice Week 17 with the Atlanta Falcons. They should be able to wrap it up there. Some interesting games coming up in week number 17 as far as that is concerned. Back here in the studio, Cuervo, good to see you. And as we get going to it, let's just hop right into it and start talking about the games. And we're going to talk about a big one here to start it off. We're going to go ahead and bring in the Cleveland Browns taking on the New York Jets. And the question here is, Cuervo, when you looked at what the Jets did last week, I did go ahead and I think, and this is just might be a little bit of conspiracy going on here. I don't think the players are very happy about the fact that they are being told to tank. And I think last week proved it because they had plenty of they had plenty of opportunities to tank that game away, and they decided they weren't going to do it. And I think it gets back to it. 60% of those players on that football team are not going to be on that football team next year. So maybe even 70%. So 3 out of 10 are only going to stay. The rest of them going to be gone. I think they're very much interested in trying to win just to knock them out so they don't get the Trevor Lawrence. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying the Jets are a good football team, but when you got personnel that wants to go in there and win football games, they should have won 5 games this year. I mean, at the very least, 5 games. And I think they're going to put. I think not that they're going to put them to them. I think they're going to come to play against the Browns, and the Browns not being the mature team. Now, granted, I've been saying that for weeks and weeks, but this is the game. This right here will tell you if the Cleveland Browns are ready for prime time, ready for playoff football, ready to put themselves in that talks of the, never mind playoffs, but just within talks of being the best team in AFC North, Cuervo.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the Jets do. No team should ever be told to tank. That's isn't that like a rule, or isn't there something to that? I mean, especially if you can prove it. Are there no penalties for that, or are there no rules to that?
I think there probably is that, but that's the kind of thing that's not talked about.
Or is it unwritten?
Or unwritten rule, maybe. I think as far as maybe someone saying something about, those are talked about in private meetings that do not get out. Listen, I don't know. What do you think? Were the Jets tanking for this Trevor Lawrence spot, or are they just – I mean, I know they're a bad football team. Don't get me wrong, Cuervo. I'm not an idiot. I see week in and week out. But I also see about 4 games where they should have, could have, would have won that game.
Yeah.
Towards the end.
Yeah, and they definitely had opportunities to, just like the Raiders game. I mean, they gave up that long pass at the end, so they've shown the ability to let games slip out of their hands. And for whatever reason, last week they were like, no, we're not going to do that. So I don't see too much of a benefit in that. Yeah, I know that's the look right there. I don't really see too much benefit in doing that. Especially if it becomes public, kind of like what's happening with the Jets, and then the guy that they want to take turns around and says, you know what, maybe I don't want to play for an organization like that.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what we're seeing here. It's not really being talked about because it's not draft season yet.
Yeah,
but imagine if the Jets secure that number 1 pick by losing today, losing next week, and then Trevor Lawrence, who everyone's expecting to be taken number 1, turns around and pulls a John Elway, pulls an Eli Manning, and says, "No, I don't want to be a Jet. I'm going to go back to school, or I'm just going to refuse to play. I'm going to re-enter next year," or something like that. something to the effect of he just doesn't want to be a Jet. I mean, that's within his right. I mean, he is not obligated to play for any team at all.
Interesting.
And then the Jets are going to be like, well, this was all for nothing.
Yeah. And like you said, that could end up hurting them before they end up helping them. And that, but now, granted, Sonny Clark would love to see Trevor Lawrence as a Jacksonville Jaguar. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for that, by the way. And then work up on that defense a little bit more. But I will say this game right here, I am a believer that the conspiracy, these guys want to win. And they're not happy with what's going on. I think so much so, Cuervo.
Do I feel lucky?
I think I do.
Do I feel lucky?
There it goes. I'm pulling the trigger on them. Not only that, I actually went back and watched how they played that game last week. They actually played good football. Now, granted, a lot of times we talk about on this show, give me defensive coordinators all day long. They'll figure out how to stop the offense, maybe not. Sam Darnold is one of these quarterbacks that is on a bad football team. But guess what? They're not saying Sam Darnold sucks, by the way, just to let everybody know. In fact, there are a lot of people interested in trading to get this guy, okay, if you believe the rumors that are out there. So this is not a Sam Darnold thing. Interestingly enough, and I don't know. This year has to be growing for the Cleveland Browns if they are going to do what Obie wants, which is to dethrone the Pittsburgh Steelers and actually have the Steelers fall out of the playoffs. It has to happen this week, and I just don't see it. I just don't see where they are. Although I do like the change in attitude from the coaching to get down to the players and saying, listen, this is how you play football. And I think we're seeing a lot of good stuff coming from the coaching staff from this football team.
Yeah. I mean, look, and going back, it's not like the Jets, they beat a good quality team last week. On the road, by the way.
On the road, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think that kind of proves that this Jets team has the ability to win football games, and I don't know if it's just, like you said, they got fed up with, they're tired of losing, and it just kind of happened, but
who's a better team, Cuervo? Are the Rams a better football team, or are the Cleveland Browns a better football team?
Well, I think the Rams are a better team.
So
Clearly.
them showing up here against Cleveland, no great big surprise. They put 2 weeks together, and my pick is for also hopes, because even though that my Jaguars take on your Bears today, if they lose that game to the Bears, they're going to end up with that number one pick, and you can best believe in week number 17 that the Jaguars will tank week 17 to get that number one pick. And the Jaguars next week, who they got? Where's this list here? Jaguars. They have it. Oh well, they're quite possibly going to lose that game anyway. So I don't even think that they need to tank in order to lose that game, but they might not play as much.
Yeah. I mean, it's all going to depend on what happens today. How teams like the Colts and the some of those teams that are fighting for number 3-4 spot, whatever happens today, I think that'll determine how they play next week too. So, even the Bears, if they win today, they're going to go all out for that win next week against Green Bay. So we'll see how that works out, though.
Should be interesting. So in this game, Cleveland takes on the Jets. Who are you going to go ahead and pick in this one?
I like Cleveland to win. Not to say that the Jets are a bad football team or that they are a bad football team, but not that the win last week was a fluke. I think that kind of proves that and maybe the Rams just didn't show up. Maybe it was just the trap game that nobody saw coming. For the Rams, because they're playing Seattle today, so that could very well.
What a bad loss for him going into that one too, as well. You think about that. I mean, if they had that win on that one, look at the wild card. Look at where they'd be if they got that victory. I mean, they would be at 10-5 right there. With that situation, or mark that, 10-4 in reality, along with the 10-4 Seattle. And I don't know who has the tiebreaker there. I'm not sure. I don't remember. That's a head-to-head tiebreaker. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where that. Wait, week 17. Who's week 17? Seattle and San Francisco. So, interestingly enough, the 49ers get that victory yesterday as well. So, pretty happy about that one, aren't you, there, Cuervo?
Very happy, yes.
All right. So everybody is on Cleveland except me. I'm going to go to the Jets, and that's not just because I'm trying to up and try to win the game and pick an opposite. I'm actually going to go to the Jets. I'll pick who I think will win the game. So I could go opposite to try to get in there to try to get the victory, which I won't. But because a lot of these, there's no way I'm going to pick against certain teams that are going to be playing. So that's the game that was up on tap. So the next game up on tap here on the Couch Potato Sports Show, the New York Football Giants and the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore seems to have a second life right now, as they have been winning football games. As they had their little lull and everybody started questioning everybody. Now they're back to maybe what you expect them to. Moving into the playoffs, one of the biggest things is can Jackson get the job done in the playoffs? I think it's unfair, by the way, for that to be even said in reality. You're talking about a second-year quarterback, and everybody's he hadn't done anything in the playoffs. Well, he's a second-year quarterback. Get up. Listen, I'm no Jackson fan, but I'm not an idiot. My football IQ is, high enough to realize that, you second-year quarterbacks don't always go very far in the playoffs. Well, you just shut up. But now he's going to be expected to, carry the load for this football team in reality, as far as Baltimore is concerned. And listen, the Giants are not a gimme win here, right, for Baltimore. They're going to have to go out and win. Now, listen, I'm not going to, as much as I would like to pick the Giants, I'm not going to pick the Giants just because that makes that NFC East, card so interesting to watch. But I think Baltimore just is a better football team, and they're playing better now. Last week, the Giants took the loss. I did pick them last week to get the victory last week. And who was it? It was who'd they play last week?
Who's that?
Who the Giants played? They played Philly last week, or Cleveland last week. I'm sorry,
Cleveland.
And that was the game where Cleveland decided to put on their big boy pants and go out and win a game, and they needed to do that. So now the question is, going into this one, the New York Giants, they not only coming off of that bad loss, how they bounce back. This is not a team that knows how to bounce back. They're not a good football team, or we would have saw visions of that earlier in the season if they're going to bounce back. They're just not a bounce back football team against good football teams, and that's what they're dealing with today. Baltimore, I think, should win, fairly handily in reality.
I agree, Sonny. I think Baltimore, especially with the situation that they're in, they can't afford to lose any more games. They have to run the table. They need to finish 11-5 to get a good playoff spot. At least get one home game, and that way they can try and get back to where they felt they should have been last year.
Right. Interestingly enough, in that division of football, you got the Steelers. Bryce thinks they're going to lose 4 in a row. I don't think they are, but if they do lose that game, that puts, and Cleveland, if they lose and Baltimore wins, man, you want to talk about that, the shuffling of that whole division of football is going to be outstanding. And of course, what does it come down to? It comes down to week 16 and week 17. You got to love the NFL, because not only that, when you take a look at it, week number 17 in division games, Baltimore plays Cincinnati. They should be able to win, but Pittsburgh and Cleveland, week 17, what a week of football as far as that is concerned, because I'll tell you straight out right now, that Cleveland and Steeler game, that first hour, Obie and Bryce from Brooklyn, it's gonna be gold. It's gonna be gold. I can't wait, especially if it happens that way. But I think Baltimore's definitely the better football team. I'm not gonna pick against Baltimore, especially going into the playoffs. Jim Harbaugh is a bad man. Okay, he knows what he needs to do, and I think obviously it's time to put him up or shut up. In reality, as far as Baltimore is concerned, I think he will put him up. It should be an interesting game. If they lose this game, though, Cuervo, oh boy, if I'm not mistaken, that'll knock them out of the playoffs. If I'm not mistaken, a loss here will make them 9-6. And no, they will have a chance to sneak in, depending on the head-to-heads. If some of the other teams will lose, and that will be, you take a look at how that part works. That'll be depending on the tiebreakers. And by the way, we got some new folks in here. Richard Sullivan, always good to see him, as he's a big Steeler fan. And maybe not but interestingly enough, some of the things that he has been talking about in the chat room, this guy is catching on. Hopefully he'll join us a little bit more up on the show. So that whole division of football is going to be interesting, week 16, week 17. So, all right. So Cuervo, let's hit into the next game here on the couch, because we can blow through some of them, but there's going to be ones that we're going to talk about. Next game up on board, not a lot to talk about because there's no playoff implications whatsoever. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to go up against the Houston Texans, and Cuervo has dropped out really quick. He's probably going to go refill his coffee, or this game's not even worth talking about. And that too. But Cincinnati just played really good last week. Obviously, we're getting the victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Stay with the hot hand. I don't know, good, bad, or indifferent. It just all depends on how you're looking at the game. Okay, Houston, they have the abilities to be good. The problem is they just have not proven that they can have those abilities to be good. And that's one of the things, whether it's injuries or whatever the case may be, it's kind of crazy. Good to see Richard checking in, first round pick at stake. You're right. You're absolutely right. There we got Cuervo back. That being said, this game, not a lot to talk about, but just looking at the talents of these teams, both of these teams, when you looked at them, both of them had different visions of what 2020 was going to be. Whether it's COVID, throw that out the window. Houston expected to be up there, as well as Cincinnati, obviously, with their draft pick and their quarterback, that what they were hoping to happen. But that win last week was interesting. Backup quarterback going up there and beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. Fluke. I'll just say it. It was a fluke. Pittsburgh walked in like they were going to win the game. They didn't prep right. They didn't get ready for this one at all. They thought they were going to roll them, and they just met up with some team that says, listen, we're not quitting. This week might be a little bit different for them, but Houston and Cincinnati, right now, I don't know what to think about either one of these football teams, Cuervo.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, Houston is obviously not what they once were. In Cincinnati, I mean, look, they lose Joe Burrow for the season. They had high hopes of bouncing back as a franchise, brand new head coach, brand new quarterback. And, then they turn around and they do something like beat the Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday Night Football. So,
yep.
Sometimes you just never know in this league, Sonny. You just never know. But what it really comes down to, above all else, if you don't show up to play, I don't care who you are, how bad your record is. As much as I love and respect Bill Parcells, sometimes the saying of your record, you are what your record says you are, may not necessarily be true. You are what your belief in yourself is as a football team. That's what you are. It ain't based on record, in my opinion. The 0-13 Jets won a game last week against a playoff caliber team in the Rams. So, I mean, that win wasn't automatic. Like, you got to show up to play. So that's not always you are what your record says. You are on that Sunday. You are what you believe in yourself as.
And interestingly enough, in this game, right now, Houston really not playing very well at all. In fact, it's actually almost embarrassing. Ryan Finley seems to be really kind of happy right now, but it is what it is. When you look at it though, as far as Bengals are concerned, they're just not a good football team. But in order for them to get the victory, they're going to have to get some play from their quarterback. So, think whatever you want about that whole situation. I think, when you look at football teams, you got to depend upon guys that are your name guys. Look at Deshaun Watson. Now, I don't think anybody thought we would be getting the Deshaun Watson that we are getting here in 2020. So when you go out there and decide that you want to try to pick this game, I'm going to go with names that I know that have played the game. And when I look on the other side, as far as the other for Cincinnati, without Joe Burrows, I don't even see how they come close in winning this game. But Houston is Houston. Like you said, Cuervo, they are who they are. Because of what they put out on the football field. But when you got two teams that are bad clashing, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, no, two bad teams clashing, but also, who's the team that truly believes that they can finish the season out strong, or are they more worried about the future? They're more worried about, let's lose these last two games so we can get a better draft pick, And so if that's what you put out there as an organization, what message are you sending to those guys that are getting ready to enter into the draft? To me, it's not a good message. It shouldn't be about losing games to get a certain guy. You go out there and put your best foot forward, and you wind up where you wind up. So, to me, I let's see. Oh, okay, no big deal. It's just Buster Skrine is inactive against for the Bears today, which the guy's hot garbage anyway. So I hope we get rid of him. But back like I said, I mean. If I'm Trevor Lawrence, if I'm some of these other guys that are getting ready to go into the NFL, and some of these guys may not care who they play for. They may not care who they play for. They just want to get paid.
So, NFL paycheck. Yes, I know.
And so they're going to say the typical stuff. I'm very happy to play for this organization. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, I'm so great. Yeah, I'm so grateful. And then, they put that helmet and jersey on and things change.
Yes.
and so I just think that, even if you are an 0-16 team, as long as you believe that, with that one guy, it can turn around. Not like, hey, we're just going to lose games to get you. Like, to me, I don't think that's the right message to send.
I agree. So in this one, who you got? I'm gonna hang on the guys I know. Okay, and the guys that I don't know are on the Cincinnati side. In reality, Houston, right now, they're just based up on the talent and everything. This is the kind where I thought maybe I'd pull out the couch potato quarter and try to figure it out. But just going on the talent on the football field, it's on the Houston side, at least as far as what I see. Who are you going to pick as far as the winner of this game?
I'll take Houston just because. Deshaun Watson, I think he's the better quarterback, and I think he'll find a way to win this game.
Everybody is on Houston except one DC. Dennis Clark, he is going to go the other way on it, as he is going to go ahead and pick the Cincinnati Bengals. Now it is time. It is time to talk about the big game. This is a big game for only one team. And maybe it's not just a big game for one team. So I'm looking at this game as your Chicago Bears going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Wait. Oh, thank you very much. By the way, this is Jeff Ferguson, the guy out there. He was actually going to join me on Christmas Day, was unable to do so. So, but that being said, looking at this, what do you think as far as your Chicago Bears and the Jaguars are concerned? Jaguars, if they lose, I mean, they're definitely in the Trevor Lawrence thing, especially if the Jets win today. And listen, I pulled the trigger on the Jets. I think they'll win today. I honestly think that the Jets will win today. But, I mean, this game right here is so tough to look at because they're like, what's that movie, Forrest Gump? The Bears you never know what you're going to get from them in reality.
How do you think I feel as a fan? So, I mean, that's you're absolutely right. I don't know every Sunday. It's like, I gotta take a shot of whiskey or something to kind of keep me on edge, just to keep myself calm, because this team's going to give me a heart attack one day.
Well, hey, against Houston, they made it look easy though. So, right?
Mm-hmm. They did, and then they turned around last week, and
Boy, I love that up there for you to remember that. Sometimes we're so good. But listen, Mitchell Trubisky right now, in reality, he's been okay. He hasn't been great, okay? But at the same time, I go back. And you want to know what? Sometimes I know myself. Sometimes I don't, okay? But sometimes old Sonny knows what the hell he's talking about. And I
told you so. I told you so. I told you so.
Not all the time I get to say this, but I was right. I wasn't wrong. I was right about Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles, and their head coach. Nick Foles and the head coach. What's his name?
Matt Nagy.
Matt Nagy. Folk and Maggie, they're like those magnets. When you put up the different sizes, they start pushing away, and that's what it is. The difference between Matt Nagy and Mitchell Trubisky is that they can come together because Mitchell Trubisky is going to listen to Nagy more than Nick Foles. And I'm not saying, by any stretch, not saying that Mitchell Trubisky is a good quarterback. But as far as the combination is concerned, as far as head coach, offensive coordinator to head coach, this is the right move right now. And or I got news for you. They would not be in the situation where they're playing for their playoff lives, right? They control their own destiny, BS crap that we don't like saying, but the simple fact of the matter, that's where they're at. But as far as this game is concerned, I mean, you say whatever you want. Jacksonville will show up and they'll try to punch you in the mouth. And for me, Jaguar fan, as much as I like to see him week in and week out, listen, they've been losing all year long, so what's the damn difference? Go out and get Trevor Lawrence. Go ahead and blow this thing up and go get the guy. Get the opportunity, lose out so you at least have a good chance, because the Jets still have this week and next week to win a football game to have them slide into that spot.
Yeah, and here's an interesting angle to look at when it comes to I know we're on the Bears-Jaguars right now, but when it comes to going back to the Jets real quick,
okay.
This may be a little bit of conspiracy. Cuervo coming out. Yeah. Let's say you're right on this Jets win, Jaguars lose situation. Has anybody ever thought about, I don't know how much there is to this, but, what if they're doing this for Sam? And this is a message that they're sending to the organization to say, oh, hell no, you're not. That Sam is our quarterback. You will not replace him. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to go out and win football games to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, and if that's the case, Sam Darnold, Sonny, is not going anywhere. Sam Darnold will stay a Jet. Mm-hmm. He will not go anywhere because he has earned the respect of his teammates, and that is exactly what you want to see.
Why start all over? Because really, you go grab that rookie quarterback as good as he's going to be. Listen, they're not going to be a great football team. They're not going to be in playoff contention. Darnold has the experience. He's seen the NFL. He's seen the speed. He's seen it. All they need is a coach to get them there in order to coach up.
And that's who's going to be gone.
Not only do they need a head coach, they need a quarterback coach as well. So they're going to have to do double duty as far as the Jets are concerned. If your theory and your conspiracy theory is correct, listen. I like Sam Darnold. In fact, I think he needs to be on a different football team, give him an opportunity to be Sam Darnold, what you kind of expected with him coming out of college.
No, I think I slightly disagree, Sonny. There's nothing wrong with Sam Darnold being a Jet, but there is something wrong with Adam Gase as the head coach of the Jets. And Sam Darnold needs a guy. Sam Darnold needs a coach that's going to bring out the best in him. Yeah. And whether that's – and look, I saw it this morning. I don't know if you saw it. But if you want to go Ted Koppel on it, we can. But there's really nothing to report. But I will say this much though.
Well, go ahead and we go Ted Koppel. What are you talking about? Because I evidently didn't see it because I was getting graphics up and ready for this week.
There is a name that is starting to surface a little as a head coaching, a guy that's going to possibly be looking to coach in the NFL yet again.
I gotta guess. Hold on, let me write it down.
Go ahead and write it down. I think you know already. You just
I think. All right. So I wrote it down. Who are you thinking?
Yep. You already knew. That's why. You already knew, Sonny. You playing games with me, man.
No, I heard the rumors. It wasn't just this morning. Those rumors actually have been flying around a little bit. So I thought it was something different, But no, I have heard about that. I have heard that Urban Meyer is interested after a year off. He'll maybe come back. And if he comes back, it won't be on the college level. Listen, he's doing more work on the college level. Let's just be honest. I mean, he's got to take care of the team. He's got to take care of the players. He's got to take care of get guys to come to the team. There's just a lot of work involved with it. There's less work on the NFL level as far as the coach is concerned, as far as his duties are concerned, because it's not just football when you're in college, it's everything else in reality. And I think that if Urban Meyer does come back, well, I don't know if he'd want to come back for the Jets. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that will all just depend on what Urban Meyer or anybody else who wants to take that job feels about the direction of the football team. Because let's be honest, this is not just a head coach of the jobs, by the way. This is not just that. It's, it's the front office. How are you feeling about it? What do you feel about winning? And not only that, what are you going to do in order to try to bring players in order to win? There's a lot of questions for anybody that's going to go ahead and take that job in New York.
Yeah, and I don't know if New York's going to be the place for Urban Meyer. I mean, there's going to be other opportunities for him to coach.
Yep.
But that could be that. I mean, that could be the one. But depending on if a guy like Jerry Jones has a wild hair up his ass and he says, Mike McCarthy's not the guy, then
I think Mike McCarthy is the guy. In reality, I don't. So if you ask if Jerry Jones is going to get rid of McCarthy,
I don't think so, Tim.
think so. I don't think that's something that he likes to be in control of it. So if he says we're going to do this is what we're going to do. I don't think you get that with Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's going to want full control, and Jerry Jones has never been able to do it. Now, should Jerry Jones give up that power and say, listen, why don't you coach the team? I'll sit back. Everybody's been saying that for the last 10 years, okay? Jerry Jones is just not that guy. He is the Donald Trump of the NFL, okay? He knows what he really needs to do. He just ain't going to do it. And that's what you end up getting when you get that guy as far as that is concerned. more so, Urban Meyer wants to be in full control on what's going to end up happening on his football team, how and who they're going to bring up on board. So I don't know if the Jets are that kind of organization. They have never been that kind of organization in reality. They seem to be an organization that wants to run their football team more so than letting football people run it. And that's the reason why you get Adam Gase as your head coach in the second coming of the quarterback whisperer that, outside of Gruden that had a television show, which obviously hasn't shown he's been able to do with one Derek Carr over there in Las Vegas, or at that time, with the Raiders. So he's not the quarterback. So who's the next best guy? I don't know. I don't know who will end up taking that job. But I will say in this game, your Chicago Bears need to win out, control their own destiny. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are a team that they need in reality, they really need to drop this game. And it'll just all be and here's the thing. I don't think Doug Marrone's going anywhere. Okay, and I'll tell you the reason why. I don't think anybody in football right now think that Doug Marrone is the problem in Jacksonville. What the problem in Jacksonville is personnel and front office. It's not head coach, because the guy knows what the hell he's doing. He had no control over losing half of his defense. That was a Tony Khan thing. So that whole thing was way beyond him. So, I think Marrone's going to be the coach there. I think that's definitely, and he brings a lot of things. Number one, he brings winning. And number two, he brings losing. And when he can preach about Jesus, we're tired of losing. This is what we need to do to win. But will Tony Khan do what he needs to do in order to have Doug Marrone be successful? I don't think so. I think Doug Marrone is the guy that needs to go up to New York in reality. But I don't. But as far as this game is concerned, I think Jacksonville is in a position in reality that maybe they need to do something to turn this organization around. And I see him flat out giving this game to your Chicago Bears. I really do. Because I think this could be a great game straight up, don't you think, Cuervo? This could be one of those smash mouth football games in reality where both of the teams are not all that good and you're going to end up getting a good football game.
Yeah, it could happen. Wouldn't surprise me if the Jaguars come out and they show up ready to play and the Bears just, fall on their face and completely just – and the game's in Jacksonville too. So
yes, it is in Jacksonville.
So there you go. I don't know what Bear team's going to show up down there. So
yeah, something like that. You just never know. And that's one of the things. Now I know you're going to go to the Bears. And that's not a bad pick. It's not even a bad pick to go Jacksonville. But whatever you want. Okay, now granted, you're not getting the 260 yards that you should get from your quarterback position. Let's be honest, okay? You're not getting that from Mitchell Trubisky. You're going to get a guy that's going to get 200 yards, maybe a touchdown, and maybe do something with his legs. And against the Jacksonville Jaguars, I think that he can get that job done. So hopefully I'm not cursing your Bears, by taking your Bears. I think the Bears should be able to get the win. They're the better football team right now.
You can't pick my team against yours, Sonny. You gotta stick with your Jaguars, man.
Are you telling me that I need to change my pick because of my alliance with this team? Listen, maybe I'm wrong, but what team have you been watching as far as the Jaguars? They've been a joke. They have been a joke, and this. Yeah. I think they're starting Gardner Minshew this week. I think no.
It's Glennon.
They are starting Glennon. Matter of fact, I am going to change my pick. I'm writing this down. I am changing my pick. I'm going to go Jacksonville because listen, there was like you said at the top of the hour, Glennon was that quarterback. He knows that offense. He knows how they think. Now, whether or not he can put it up against the game plan against the Bears, we'll find out. I'm going to go my Jaguars. So we're going to have the straight up smash mouth thing as I know you're going Bears, right?
That's right. Of course I am.
So everybody's on Chicago except me. But Glenn, I forgot that Glennon is starting this game. So that should be interesting. It'll all depend on whether or not they will go ahead and decide to, blow the game. Chris Phillips in there. Hail to the Washington football team. And he's saying, what's up to Cuervo. So thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. He's obviously your buddy.
Yeah, he's actually when I first joined the military, he was my first what's called non-commissioned officer, NCO, when I got to Japan. So he was the first guy that kind of, he mentored me, and we worked together. So somebody I'll always remember. So good luck to your football team today there, Chris. Always good to hear from you.
Definitely. By the way, I'm going to send out an invite to Ferguson. He's going to join. He's supposed to join me on Christmas Day. Left me hanging. Thank you very much, by the way, Mr. Ferguson. But I'll bring in Mr. Ferguson. Jeff Ferguson. You probably know of Jeff Ferguson. In our days with Sports Talk with the guys and stuff like that. So I sent him out an invite. He's going to hopefully join us here in a couple of minutes. So I sent that over to him. So that being said, of course, that's the name of this show. We'll head on into the next game. Your Bears, you got the Bears. I'll go ahead and take Jaguars with Glennon to see what happens.
That's how it should be, Sonny. That's how it should be.
So that said, next game. Next game up on board, the Atlanta Falcons in Kansas City. Not really a lot to talk about in reality when you think about it. As I just lost Cuervo, he stepped out in second. Not a lot to talk about as far as this game is concerned. The Atlanta Falcons are the fourth quarter debacle football team. I mean, this is a football team in reality that does not know how to play in the fourth quarter. And every time they get going or they are close to winning, this is a team that just craps the bed every single time they get the opportunity. And especially in a big-time game, they just don't get the job done. Say whatever you want about Kansas City. You can sit there. Kansas City is in reality, the cream of the crop. The cream always rises to the top. And that's what you're getting with Kansas City. It's a football team. Now, if you're going to go ahead and find a fault with this football team, which you can go ahead and do so, it would be the one thing where they have the problem, which is on the defensive side of the ball. But here's the thing about Atlanta. Atlanta is a football team that knows how to score. But come the fourth quarter, this is a football team that has got to step up, and they don't know how to step up. And we talk about it on the show all the time. It's not whether or not you're a good football team. It's if you know how to win football games. And let's just be honest, okay? The Atlanta Falcons, since that fourth quarter debacle in the Super Bowl, has not learned how to play football, does not know how to put it together in order to win football games, does not show up for all four quarters. We can throw out all of the sayings and all the words that you can talk about but the other one, you have to not play just 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters. You got to play all 4 quarters. And this is not what you get with the Atlanta Falcons. And my problem with that whole thing is their head coach, Raheem Morris, he's not going to get the job. He is not going to continue on as far as I know. And I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I just want to see that guy get better. And I don't know if we're going to end up doing that. So what we're going to do now, of course, this is the Couch Potato Sports Show. It's that being said, let's bring on another guy. There he is, Jeff. The captain. How you doing? Good to see you, man. You're looking good, man. How much weight have you lost, by the way?
Well, I left Boston 4 years ago. I lost 40 pounds. So
you had to leave Boston in order to lose weight, right? I mean,
yeah. It had to happen that way, man.
Got it. So you're all set and ready to go. What do you think about the football season to this point? I mean, we've had a COVID-infested, 2020. We've seen where teams had to move days and everything else. What do you think about how the NFL is handling the NFL here in 2020? Are they doing a good job, doing a bad job, or are you just doing the best that they can?
I think they're doing the best that they can, but that's a big blanket statement. Every team is a little bit different, and they have to conform to the NFL rules and regulations. They had a bubble with each team right away to make sure we could have football games and healthy players. And to tell you the truth, I was kind of actually looking forward to more of the fake audience, the fake people, in the seating. I wanted to see more life with that.
Yes.
It does have a false feeling of excitement when they put in the sound effects, but doing audio on Blog Talk Radio and doing what you're doing now on StreamYard,
right.
It's fun. It's fun to do that. I want to see more of it if we can't have it. And this is really weird for me this year because obviously I'm from Foxborough, so
right.
And the Patriots are not.
You get Cam Newton.
Yeah, the guy can run, and I was really expecting more out of him. But I followed Tommy Terrific over to the Bucs, and I really still think they got a chance to pull it off. What do you think?
Oh yeah. Oh no, you if you count out Tom Brady, you just don't know football. Okay, listen, they did what they did to Detroit. Now, were they supposed to do that? Absolutely. They were supposed to knock them out and beat the holy hell out of them because he is Tom Terrific, okay? Simple fact of the matter is. And also, taking a look at next week's game, hold on, let me just, I'm in the wrong section. Next week's game, if you take a look at who they got next week, they got the New York Jets, for God's sake. They should be able to roll out of that, so expect another complete blowout. Why do you expect a complete blowout? Because that's what they do. Okay. Not only that, the experiment went exactly. If you went back into the archives and seen exactly what I was talking about as far as Tom Brady and Gronk, I called exactly what they were going to do. They were going to see if Tom Brady can do it without Gronk. And when it come time where they had to tighten the belt, they bring Gronk back into it. Guess what? They had to tighten the belt, and guess what? You're getting the Gronk that you're expecting. They were keeping They were keeping him in on the blocking and helping Tom not get crushed. But sooner or later, the writing's on the wall where you got to go, well, it's time to go ahead, take that Linus blanket off your shoulder and let them go out and depend on that blanket. And that's exactly what I thought this season was going to be like. Listen, I'm not saying that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win the Super Bowl or even get there. But I got news for you. They're making it into the second round minimum. And listen, making the playoffs right there, and this is my opinion, Jeff, I'll find out from you, it solidifies that Tom Brady is the GOAT. Just making the playoffs with that football team in reality that hasn't been there forever, he solidified that, yes, I am the GOAT. So was it was it Tom Brady being the GOAT, or was it the system up there in Foxborough with the New England Patriots and the head coach? What's your opinion on that?
There's a little bit of both going on there, Sonny. There's a little bit of both. They made a big mistake letting him go.
I think so too.
They did, but I knew once Tom went to the Tampa Bay Bucs, he's going to show everyone, like you said, he's the GOAT. I knew he was going to make the playoffs, and that must be a sour feeling in the stomach of Bill Belichick.
Yes,
sour, big time. And I've spent some time in Tampa Bay. I have some affection for that area, and was always a little depressed that they never really did much of anything, except for back in the day in the early 2000s with what was that guy's name again, with the hairdo, the big defensive dude? What was his name?
I don't know, Cuervo. You know who he's talking about? What team was it?
The Tampa Bucs, and the year they went to the Super Bowl.
The big hair. I don't know. They had Warren Sapp, and he had no hair.
Warren Sapp.
He had no hair.
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't really done anything since then, and so it's really exciting.
And John Gruden is sure lucky to have his only Super Bowl ring, thanks to Tony Dungy.
Oh, Tony Dungy.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's really exciting because all my life I only rooted for the Patriots, and now that I've been living in Arizona and the Cardinals are doing well, or have it well, sort of. I'm still too embarrassed to wear a Cardinals jersey, but now that everything's different, I find myself rooting for more than one team.
Of course.
And this happened from minute one of the season. I for some reason I wanted to root for the Patriots, and I did, but I was all over Tom Brady and going to the Bucs. I followed him, man.
Yep.
I follow him anywhere. I think he still has that ability to go back to the Super Bowl and get at least one more ring.
Hey, without question, I don't know if it's this year, but they did. Hey, Cuervo, and Cuervo can attest this. I called what the Bucs were going to do. From week number one, they were going to keep Gronk in and block, and when they had to bring him in, it's the security blanket for Linus, for Tom Brady, which is Gronk, and that's what we've been seeing the last couple of weeks, Cuervo, in reality, when you talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Hi, Cuervo.
Oh, wait, Cuervo, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I hit
hit the mute button.
I hit.
No, I think that was me.
This time I hit his mute button. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was just to say hi to Jeff. Appreciate you coming on and joining us. Yeah, I mean, he has, Brady has felt that comfort again, throwing to Gronk, getting him even Blaine Gabbert threw to Gronk yesterday. So
Absolutely.
I think that says a lot about Rob Gronkowski and where he's at as far as his mindset, physically, mentally being back in the game of football. And, we all knew it was going to take some time before he was back to the guy that he once was. But, the past couple of weeks, he's been getting a lot more catches. He got a couple scores yesterday, which was good for me. I think that, above all else, when it comes to Tom, both Brady and Gronk, I think the biggest thing and what a lot of guys aren't talking about, and I think people are starting to realize this now, just based on the way Brady and Gronk are successful down in Tampa, and you see what's going on in New England with Bill Belichick, they're having fun playing the game. Look, there's a price to pay when you're as successful as those guys were in New England, and the price that they paid up there was it was so business environment that you forgot what football is truly about.
Oh, what do you mean? Wait, you mean what football is truly about being? Where is it? This right here? Yeah, right. I mean, you think about it. Look how much fun this dude is having.
There you go.
It's unbelievable. So, steering it away from that.
Yeah, and look, and I'm not saying it's completely wrong to treat it, because it is their job. They get paid for their services as football players, just like we get paid for our services and what we do to make a living, right? Well, for those guys, it's a sport, and I think you when you take the fun, the love away, and you treat it as if it's just purely business, you're going to grow tired of it eventually. Absolutely. And I think that's what happened to Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, and that's why Gronk retired. He retired. I think he was just finding for that window. He was looking for that window to not have to be a Patriot anymore. That's just my opinion. But and when Tom left to go to Tampa Bay, I think it was similar to the situation with the Miami Heat when they brought in LeBron James and all those guys. This thing was planned a couple of years ago. Yeah. And saying, "Hey, I'm going to leave I'm going to leave New England around this time. Join me down here wherever we go next." And it just wound up being Tampa Bay with Bruce Arians.
Which, by the way, you think about it, the last year in New England, that 4 games where he didn't have to play, that means he was 4 games fresher. In reality, it was a penalty, but in reality, it was the best thing that ever happened to the Patriots.
It was a blessing.
Super Bowl. So, it is what it is. But I will say this as far as Gronk and that whole thing. Look out for Tampa Bay. They are not an easy win, regardless. Whenever you have Tom Brady in the lineup, that's bad enough. You had Gronk on that, it just gets even worse in reality. I mean, thinking about the combination of what those two bring to their squads themselves, it makes it hard for other teams to get ready to try to beat this football team.
And you know what makes it even more powerful is that people are expecting Brady to go to Gronk, so Gronk is the best decoy you could ever want on your team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Something to think about, watch out for Tampa Bay where they're going to go into the playoffs. This game, Kansas City, though, in Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta is before we brought in Jeff, I was talking about fourth quarter woes. That's what they are. They're not a fourth quarter football team. They haven't been a fourth quarter football team since they got pounded in the fourth quarter by the great one, the GOAT, and the Patriots. They haven't been the same. They haven't played a full 4 quarters ever since that Super Bowl. That's why I can't expect them to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City where they'll have a crowd in reality. So, as far as what Atlanta brings to the table, they bring 3 quarters and then they'll check out. So that's what I got. I got Kansas City. What about you, Cuervo?
Hey, you won't have to worry about the fourth quarter in this game, guys, because it'll be over by then. I'll take Kansas City in this game too.
You would think, Jeff, what do you think about the Atlanta Falcons and the Kansas City Chiefs?
Those dirty birds have no chance. I'm going with Kansas City.
Yeah, just don't have enough to put it together. We'll see. Hey, if they ever do, and I hope, and just I'm putting this on the record, I hope they hold on to Raheem Morris as the head coach. I really do. I think, and then they go out and get a real offensive coordinator, get rid of Dirk Cotter, the worst, and I mean the worst offensive coordinator in NFL history. That's just me. Next game up on board here on the Couch Potato Sports Show, the Denver Broncos is not a good football team. They go up against the Chargers, who are getting better. The team, obviously, without Phillip Rivers, doing the business in Indianapolis. But that rookie quarterback, obviously should win, at least in my opinion, win the Rookie of the Year. And if he doesn't, someone's not watching football or they just really love Joe Burrow. But really, as far as success is concerned, he's had the most. And in this game, it doesn't meet. And I know your lady is a Denver Bronco fan, but I don't know how Denver even comes close to winning this football game. Not because they're not a good football team, even though they're not, but I mean, they can put it together. It's the momentum of where the Chargers are right now in reality with their rookie quarterback, Cuervo.
Well, yeah, and look, I have no doubt that Justin Herbert is, in the running for the Rookie of the Year. Some people may argue it could be Edwards-Helaire from Kansas City. I just don't think the Chiefs run the ball enough. I don't think they do enough through him to really make him a candidate for the Rookie of the Year. I know the numbers look good, but I just think because of the way that offense is set up, and he's not the focal point.
Absolutely.
So I think that's what hurts him in being a candidate. Now Herbert, on the other hand, what I like about him is that I know everybody saw what he could be, but for it to translate to the NFL and how well he's played for the Chargers. Now, they haven't won a lot of games, but they've been in a lot of games. And I think that's a good sign. That's what you want to see if you're the Chargers going to next season. You want to see that this guy can keep himself composed, whether they win or lose. He's going to play a good game, and he's going to give you a chance to win every single time. So that's a great sign, like I said, if you're a Charger fan.
And if you're a Charger fan, you also got to realize who he is. He's a rookie quarterback. You don't expect him to go to the playoffs. If you do, you're just crazy. In reality, fans of that football team got to do. They don't keep it real and realizing where you are with your football team next year. Listen, next year, if they make the playoffs, I think that's That's more than what you can really expect. So if they make the playoffs, but I'm an NFL and a rookie realist, Jeff. I mean, I don't expect them to be the all-coming, the second coming of God here. And seeing their potential to, and all the other rookies, you just can't expect them to turn around a whole football team in reality.
Oh, I agree. And I've barely been paying attention to the Chargers. Just they got a few wins, and they're out of the playoff race, aren't they? Or are they still?
Yeah, they're out of the playoffs. They've only got 4 wins out on the season. But they brought him in. I'm not mistaken, Cuervo. They brought him in week 6. They started off with Tyrod Taylor before he got hurt in that.
It was sooner than that, Sonny. I think it was like week 3 or 4.
Tyrod Taylor had that injury, and the doctor messed it up even worse.
Yeah.
So, interestingly enough.
Can I ask you, Sonny? I know I was a little late to the program today. I'm not sure how many games I missed with the picks, but I could give them to you really quick.
Okay, let's do that. Let's go fire shot. We got time, so because we only got a few more games. Now the games that were up on board, we started with Cleveland and the Jets as far as where they're at. So that's where we started, Cleveland and the Jets.
Okay, well, obviously I'm going to take Cleveland, although the Jets did get that one win, didn't they?
Yes, they did. That's why I picked them.
So I'll go with Cleveland.
I went ahead and I hung it out there. I'm going to go Jets in that one. I think I like that one. Next up aboard the Giants, who have been playing pretty well. They go up against Baltimore. Baltimore's fighting for their playoff lives in reality. The Giants need to win because the NFC East is so bad. They need to win in order to stay in contention in the NFC East. What do you think about that one?
The Giants have no chance. I'm going with the Ravens.
Yep, I think so. And we are on Cincinnati and Houston, 2 bad football teams. One's going up, one's going down in reality, based upon what you think about Joe Burrow, if he'll be in the lineup in 2021. Houston needs a turnaround. They need a coach. What do you think about those guys?
Yeah, that's a shit show. I'm going to have to go with Houston.
No, yeah. So who are you going in this one?
Houston.
So you're going Houston, and I love me some Romeo Cornell, but he's just not a head coach in reality. Chicago and Jacksonville. Chicago
Bears
fighting for their playoff lives. If the Jaguars lose, they're in the run for Trevor. So what do you think about that one?
I think the Bears are still licking their wounds, so they're going to need this win big. I'm going with the Bears.
And Atlanta and Kansas City, we talked about.
Kansas City.
I think you're on Kansas City. And then the one that we talked about earlier that we talk about when Bryce comes in, Indianapolis is in Pittsburgh. And a tough game for both of these football teams. Both of them really need it, especially looking at where they are as far as the wild card is concerned. And you can take a look at the wild card the way it looks right now. Right now, Kansas City, as far as Pittsburgh, they need to continue winning. In reality, Indianapolis fighting for it to stay within it. Can't afford really to lose those games, especially with Miami and Baltimore, if Baltimore gets a victory today.
Well, it still turns my stomach every time I see those yellow towel heads throwing their towels around.
Yes.
So it really makes me sick to my stomach. But I'm going to have to go with Pittsburgh on that one.
Most Patriot fans do, in reality. I get it. I understand. So, and that brings us to Chargers and Denver. Everybody in reality is on. Yeah, no, mark that. Obie went ahead and he pulled the trigger and he went ahead and picked Denver. So what do you think about that one?
Oh, Denver's crap in the bed this year. Oh, God.
Yes.
And who did you say they're playing?
They're playing the Chargers. That's the one we're currently
Right. Now we're back to full circle.
Yeah,
definitely. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I could care less about both teams, but I think the Chargers have a better chance of pulling it out.
Definitely. By the way, are you still doing your Star Trek show? Are you going to take that to video? I know you were doing at one point. I'm not a Star Wars guy, Star Trek. Star Trek. Yeah, sorry. I'm doing way up. Star Trek. Are you still doing that show? And if you are, what's going on with it?
Well, it's called Jeff Trek.
Yeah.
And I can't get into too many details, but yes, trying to bring it back. I need to talk to you off the air about about that and to get your advice because I'm going to need some serious advice. And I will be using StreamYards, but there has been a situation where I'm no longer talking to a certain person anymore.
Wow,
And
it's probably the same person I'm talking about, but we'll talk about that off air. You're probably right. So we'll check that out. So keep in mind, look at Jeff Ferguson up on Facebook as well. So that'll take us into there. I just wanted to see where you're at with that because I knew
scary subject.
I have checked it out a couple of times. I usually check out early because I'm not that great of a Star Trek fan. But I do like those new ones, by the way, the new movies. I do like those.
Oh, yeah.
I know that. I know. And listen, I get it. I understand in reality by saying
Blasphemy! The blasphemy!
Oh, I get it before I even say it. So next game up on board here on the we're going to head on over to Washington, where the Washington football team, no name football team, goes up against Carolina. I just hoped for Carolina to be good because I'm a Teddy Bridgewater fan. Unfortunately, hasn't worked out. We probably won't see Teddy in Carolina next year, Cuervo, and that kind of hurts my feelings. But I'm just wondering if that guy was handcuffed in reality and not able to bring this to his team. But at the same time, we're also not seeing him really play up to snuff. And what I'm talking about, he's a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. And that's the difference between a Teddy Bridgewater maybe taking over that team and saying, hey, the Panthers are my team, compared to I'm just here for the paycheck.
Well, yeah. I mean, and it's been a roller coaster for Teddy Bridgewater this year in Carolina. He shows signs of a guy that can, get things. Now, in his defense, when you lose a Christian McCaffrey for most of the season, that never helps. So, you got to have that guy to be able to get that.
Which, by the way, he's not in this week. He is officially out this week as well, which I wouldn't even put him back in week 17 if he was ready. I don't want to run the risk of hurting that guy.
No, you definitely don't. I mean, there's certain guys that you just don't run the risk of losing. Obviously,
especially when you're not making the playoffs, there's no need to put Christian McCaffrey in this lineup.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, and really at 4-10, their playoff hopes are gone. So, I mean, it's not like the Panthers are 7-7 or 8-6, and they're trying to get a wild card spot. Washington, on the other hand, they have everything to play for. So you got one team that's got nothing to play for, yet the other one that's got everything to play for. And I know a lot of times you say, well, shoot, the team that has nothing to play for will probably find a way to win this game. But Carolina, again, they don't have their playmaker on offense. And so it'd be really hard for me to take the Panthers in this game.
Yeah, and just looking at the wild card, by the way, I only have 10 spots up. There are 3 teams behind that, by the way, that are still in, believe it or not, in contention because they can win the NFC East. That being all 3. No, actually, mark that. Philadelphia was officially eliminated. So you still have Washington, you still have the Dallas Cowboys, and you still have the Giants still in line to maybe be able to win that division of football, which would move them to the number 4 spot within that, because that's the only team that's going to make the playoffs here within the division. And really, you think about this, as far as building momentum, they lose to Alex Smith. Listen, I said that the Washington Redskins would win this division if they kept Alex Smith. Now they have the problem with the looking for the hose and the strip joint quarterback. I don't even know who's starting for Washington. So there's no way I'm picking Washington right now because they're so up in the air with it. I think some other, whether it's the Giants or the Cowboys, are going to end up winning this division. And the fact that they lost Alex Smith, and he is, by the way, at least according to when I was looking, he's not playing this week either. He's gone for the rest of the year. Cuervo, how are you picking the Washington Redskins over, even though they're not in contention? Are you picking the Washington Redskins to get the victory, or are you going to go with Carolina? I'm going Carolina.
I'm going to go Washington. Dwayne Haskins, I think, is going to start, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't heard otherwise.
I thought he was suspended because of the no mask wearing, strip club joint thing. I don't know.
Let me think. Let me see. I don't see him. Well, not that they would put him on the injury report, but he's not on the, listed out.
Okay, so
I'll have to look again, but I don't see it.
So at that part, I'm not sure.
Being...
But when you're looking at the game, I don't know how much you know about this whole situation. What do you think about Carolina and Washington?
Well, this is what I think. First of all, who's in charge of the Washington football team, and why are you calling it the Washington football team? And are the Chiefs going to change their name too? And if not, why are they cool with the Chiefs? And why call it the Washington football team? Is there anyone that has any creative thought with that football administration? Call it something. Don't call it just a football team.
Even if it's for 1 year, call it something, because, guys, I'm telling you, the next name of that team is going to be the Red Wolves, and someone has the Red Wolves name up underneath trademark somewhere, and they're trying to get it just to let everybody. That's what I think that they're going after, but we'll see what happens.
The Red Wolves. Well, maybe some wolves will be offended by that.
Yeah, maybe something like that, right?
I'm not a red wolf. Let's change the name.
Yep. So you're going to go. You gonna go Washington, or are you gonna go ahead and go Carolina? And I think Cuervo is looking to see who might be starting this week.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking to check.
Have you found the answer?
Let's see. So it from what I'm reading, he got fined and he got his captain whatever rights, or his title of captain, it was removed. So he's no longer considered a captain of the team, and he got fined $40,000.
Yes.
But
he's starting.
But he is going to start. It sounds like he is going to start. So
I'm going to stay on Carolina. And problem, and I'm going to stay because of off-field problems. So I'm going to stick with Carolina. What do you think, Jeff?
I want to go with Carolina, but something tells me, my spidey senses are telling me it's got to be the Washington dumbass football team. It's going to win. So.
Got it. So, and that will take us into the next game. We're doing pretty good. We got only 4 more games to go. Some of them are hard, some of them are easy. Let's head into the next one. Next game up on board here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. It's the Rams. They are on the road to take on Seattle, and what a Week 16 matchup in reality. If you go back into the actual wild card race, both of those teams are expected to be into the playoffs. Let me put it up there real quick. As clinched right now is Seattle. The Rams have not clinched, so they need to win here in reality. Now, granted, without getting the win, they might end up in that 7th spot based upon Arizona, whatever the case may be. Will Chicago take the jump with the victory today? Hell, I don't know. But this one right here in reality is for the division, and then next week we'll see how the games end up. But head-to-head, this is a big game for both of these teams there, Cuervo.
Yeah, it is. It is a big game for both teams because, look, there's no other way to put this. The Rams have to bounce back from being known as that team that let the Jets beat them. You know what I mean? Like, if we weren't wearing masks, or if we didn't have to wear masks out in public, I would have loved to see the look on Sean McVay's face.
Yep.
Once that game was determined, and the Jets wound up winning, because they showed McVay, and you could see the look in his eyes, how embarrassed he was as the head coach of that team to be the team that loses to a team with 0 wins. And look, but again, this proves what we talked about earlier. You have to show up. I don't care what the record says of a football team. If you don't show up every single game, you are going to lose. Bottom line. This isn't college football.
Is a classic example of that, because that guy laid a stinker last week. I'm sorry. I mean, you want to talk about crap in the bed. That's what we saw in Jared Goff last week. And if you're not going to bring in 100%, especially in December, that's what football's all about. You can sit there and talk about September, October, November all day long. Football is about December. And if you can't win games in December, it means you're not going to win games in the playoffs. And that's one of the things that we as far as the Rams are concerned. Now, granted, you look at the Steelers and what they're doing, they're not winning in December, and who knows, they might not even make the playoffs after going on an 11-game win. So, winning streak. So this one right here, it just decides whether or not that the Rams are going to be a good football team moving into the playoffs. But winning the division, I think, is really huge in reality as well. So think about that as far as that is concerned. Looking at this game, this one is going to be a good game. This one is going to be, in reality, puts the winner right in line of winning the division and getting the home game. That's an important thing in reality. When we had fans, I don't know how much of a big deal it is today, not having home field advantage in reality. But when I was looking at this, I know which team is better. But, will the Rams show up and do things defensively? Which is, listen, you can sit there and talk about it all day long, but when you think about what's going to happen as far as Sean McVay is concerned and Jared Goff, you got to ask yourself in reality, if you're going to move into being a good football team 24/7 and beating teams that you're supposed to beat in order to make the playoffs. And I just don't know. They've been wishy-washy. Listen, Seattle hasn't been wishy-washy all year long. They'll lose a game here and there, but it'll be just because of silly stuff. Not being wishy-washy and consistently not playing consistent football is more in lines of what you're seeing from the Rams, Jeff, than you are Seattle and the Seahawks. Maybe.
You said who's going to show up for the Rams. I'm thinking maybe the Chargers. I don't know. But, I think I'm going to have to go with Seattle on that one. And by the way, this is my new favorite sports show, and I will be joining you as much as possible.
Hey, you always I'll add you into my list to where when I post it, you can just go from there. So I'll add you into our list. So we'll add it. You're more than welcome anytime on the show. We bring up anybody and everybody, throw their opinions out there. So Seattle, I mean, obviously we talk in the MVP. You're talking about a guy in Russell Wilson that should be in line for that. Whether you win or not, that'll be a total different story. But if he's going to be considered for that MVP, he's got to win this football game. And you want to talk about pressure on Russell Wilson, this is a guy that doesn't feel pressure. He doesn't go out there worrying about what people think. And that's what makes him better than most NFL quarterbacks, because he doesn't care what people think per se. He just goes out and shows it. And he shows that he is worth the money. Go ahead there, Jeff.
Especially when he throws an interception in the end zone to lose the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
no pressure.
Too, but don't forget about that, Sonny. But looking at this game, Cuervo, where do you think the Rams are? Are the Rams capable of winning this game? And if they are they going to?
The Rams are very capable of losing this game, and I wanted to look up. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I knew it. Yeah, the Rams won the first game.
Right.
The first time they played, the Rams won. So if the Rams win again, then
they're sliding up. They're moving up into that number four.
They'll be and not just that, but they'll take the division lead too.
Yep.
So that's also something to think about. And so this game is important for both teams equally. I know their records are one game. They're one game apart.
Mm-hmm.
But this game is just as important for both teams, because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say if the Seahawks win, they're basically going to clinch the division today. If the Seahawks win.
Right. I think you're right.
Because that'll drop the Rams to 9-6. Seattle will go to 11-5. So, I mean, it's a done deal at that point. So if Seattle wins today, they win the division. And I think that's going to be a motivating factor for Russell Wilson to get it done. They're at home, and we all know how tough Seattle can be when they're at home. So yes. I'm.
But that's with the 12th man, though. Cuervo, in reality, you're not worried about the 12th man this year going into Seattle.
Well, I think it's still a. I don't know. It's a mental thing. I think with Seattle, they're at home. I think there is still a such thing as slightly as home field,
mm-hmm.
just because you know that it's just a comfort factor.
Yeah, you're sleeping in your own bed.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that you may not have the crowd there, but you're like you said, you slept in your own bed the night before. You're at home, and you can. It's an environment thing. That's just what I think. But
So you going to Seattle?
I am going Seattle. I think they get it done. I think Russell Wilson will make a statement today as far as him being the MVP this year, and I think they get it done and they clinch the division. So
I'm going to go Seattle as well. The Rams, I don't know if they're ready for prime time. I don't know if they're ready to take that step in order to be a playoff team. And if they do make the playoffs, how far will they go? Be interesting. So, but I think Seattle wins that, and they'll also wrap up that home game for the first round of the playoffs. That takes us to the next game. And in a game that's important for both teams because the NFC East is so damn bad. Philadelphia Eagles go on the road to take on the Dallas Cowboys. And listen, I picked the Dallas Cowboys to win this division, but it sure in the heck wasn't with only 7 wins or 6 wins. Let's just get serious. I expected a little bit more from them. But, of course, you lose Dak Prescott in week number 3. It just kind of throws your football team in a tailspin. And plus, you're not getting anything from Ezekiel Elliott in reality. So you look at all that stuff that you got to deal with coming into this one. This division's still up for grabs, especially if Washington does lose to Carolina, which I picked Carolina to win that game. That really makes this division of football so much more interesting. It'll go head-to-head and then within the division. But a lot of head-to-head situations in this one, Cuervo. So when you're looking at the Eagles taking on Dallas at home, they'll have 30,000 people in the stands, by the way. They're the team that has the most fans that can actually attend the game, and they will. So you get the home field advantage in reality with fans in the stands. What do you think about this one, Cuervo?
Just when I think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to die off, they always find a way to crawl back like a zombie. Yeah. They just never die.
Well, that's the NFC East. I mean, that's within the division,
right? And with the way the division has gone this year, I mean, hell, just last week the Eagles were 4-8-1 and still had a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, that's unheard of. So, but as far as today, look, Philly's out of it. I think they're, you want to talk about a team that's licking their wounds. The Philadelphia Eagles they've got a lot of wounds to lick. And
by the way, just to let you know, Cuervo, jump in here because it's not necessarily a lot of things, but guess what? I was wrong. All 4 teams are still in contention. I thought Philadelphia was out of it. I am completely wrong. That tie throws that whole thing in the tailspin right there, and I forgot about that. So all 4 teams are still.
Then let me rephrase that, Sonny. So the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to make the playoffs, and they're out of it. They're going to be out of it after today.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think the Dallas Cowboys will win this football game. Because again, just when you think they've disappeared and they've died off, they crawl right back into it and they find a way to win football games and stay alive. So, Andy Dalton, I think, is doing well to fill in for Dak Prescott. I mean, he's not lighting it up, but he's winning. And he's winning the games that matter. He's winning the games that matter. And
chance.
Yeah, it's 1 in a million, but there is a chance. So,
we're looking at this game. What do you think about it? Who do you have taking the step forward to get the victory today?
Well, I'm going to take Dallas, but I have to say something. Before I sold my PlayStation 3 during this horrible pandemic, just to have a couple extra dollars, I was playing Madden 17. And Ezekiel Elliott was my favorite player. Boy, did he kick ass in that game. I played 30.
Oh, I lost him. I lost your audio. Wait. I lost your audio.
Well, he was only good because I made him good, not because he was good. So
I think I know what I did. And Cuervo, I muted you. Can Can you unmute yourself? I don't know how I did it. Who did it? There we go.
No, I muted myself.
Well,
I muted
I have a
myself.
keyboard on the floor, and my toes hit the keyboard, and it. I apologize about that, but I got to stop that.
That was only a temporary thing, by the way.
Yeah. Those technical problems there. So go back to what you were saying, Jeff. We missed half of it.
No, it's just like you can pick any of the big guys the big names that are in the game, and when you're playing the game in Madden, and you can pick a favorite that you wouldn't have normally liked in real life, and he just happened to be the player that I was pushing hard, as if I was the coach, and I missed that game, man. I got to get another PlayStation. I got to start playing Madden again. Oh,
you got to get back up on Madden, But, it's interestingly enough, you take a look at it, as far as the Dallas Cowboys are concerned and their situation regarding their quarterback. Obviously, Dak Prescott suffers the worst injury you can possibly do, especially when you're trying to negotiate for a contract. So he's not going to probably get the money that he wants based upon that injury. He's right, guy, whatever they give to him. But if he was healthy, I don't think there would be any question. I think the Dallas Cowboys would win this division. He's obviously the best quarterback within this division, but since you don't have him, Philadelphia is a little bit one of those Jekyll and Hyde teams. I cannot decide if they want to be good, they want to be bad. But what I look at is coaching, and I just think Doug Peterson's a better coach. So that's the reason why I'm going on the other side on this one, Cuervo. I'm going to go ahead and I am taking the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. Now, before you come back, I'm going to take the stretch. Now, before you come back on, Cuervo, you got muted again. I don't know how that happened unless you did it.
I did it to myself.
Oh, very good. All right. So looking at this one, who do you think is going to win?
I like Dallas, and the reason I like Dallas is because I just think that this Jalen Hurts experiment is just not going well. At least for this year, it's not. And I think on top of that, I think there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of tension in the Eagles locker room because of the Carson Wentz situation.
There it is.
And look, and sometimes you gotta bite the bullet. You gotta make a sacrifice. You gotta do what you gotta do, however you want to phrase it. But the Philadelphia Eagles need to make a decision on Carson Wentz. Are they going to keep him? Are they going to get rid of him? Because Carson Wentz right now, I'm going to tell you, as much as I like him, he's not handling this situation the right way.
Oh, not at all.
To act the way he's acting about it. Look, and maybe I'm biased here, but I saw I don't know if you want to call it a meme or just a picture comparing the situation with Carson Wentz in Philadelphia to the situation with Mitch Trubisky in Chicago. Look, Mitch got benched too, but guess what? He got an opportunity to get his job back, and he's embraced it. Carson Wentz, on the other hand, is pouting about it. He's upset that he got benched, and now he's on the sideline. I got benched, and that's how he's acting.
Yep.
You go do the
That
face.
was terrible. Crazy knucklehead are terrible.
And the face. This right here, this picture right here explains a lot of what's going on in the NFL. And Carson Wentz in this picture, they just go together. Carson Wentz, he's embarrassing himself as a guy. Now, this is different if you're talking about a guy who is a marginal player. This guy's supposed to be the second coming, and he's embarrassing himself with his reactions right now, Jeff, when you look at what he's doing, how he's saying, and how he's presenting himself right now.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't have too much to comment on that. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep my mouth shut. Sometimes I say things that I should not say. So.
Oh, no, we do that on this show all the time. Believe me, political correctness is just not what this show is all about.
Well, let me tell you something, Sonny. You have a very humble yet way of running a show and hosting a show, and you still are so smart while you're doing it, and it's so different than some of what I'm used to. And we'll talk more again in private. I admire you so much, and it's so good to meet you too as well.
Yeah. We appreciate
Yeah,
it.
likewise.
The way I look at it, we wouldn't be on air for 12 years if we did anything different. If we did something totally different, we wouldn't be there. So, but as far as this game is concerned, I'm on Philadelphia. I think that and here's what I think. I think Jalen Hurts is going to go ahead and make a statement. This is a statement game for him to say, listen, you probably should have done this earlier. So in other words, this is the time for him to stand up and get his respect in reality. And that's what it is. Find out what it means to me, and I'll show you. Now, are the Eagles going to go far in the playoffs? Of course not. If they make the playoffs, that neither one of these 4 teams are going to go very far. But at the same time, if you're good, this is a statement game. If you're going to make the statement, it's got to be this week because you need to gain a little momentum going into Week 17. Because week number 17, it's not very easy. They're all division games. Philadelphia gets Washington, depending on who's going to be quarterback, how they're going to play it, and how they do today will be big. Also on the other side for the Dallas Cowboys, they got the New York Giants. Week 1 and Week 17, New York Giants. It's that clash. And so it'll go to Week 17 in reality who's going to win this division. So interestingly enough, that's how that division is shaping up. So I'm on Seattle. 2 more games to talk about. A big one in reality Sunday. Now, the Tennessee Titans go to Green Bay. Tennessee fighting for the division. Now, I think they're going to make the playoffs. They have got the guy who's looking to make 1,200. He's got to go 155 yards, if I'm not mistaken, in the next 2 games to break the 2,000 barrier. So he did it last week. He had a good game last week. I need to continue that. That being said, the Green Bay Packers are a football team and makes you want to puke in your throat if you're a Chicago Bears fan. Exactly, and I am too. But the only thing is that you got to take a look at Aaron Rodgers and what he brings to the table. Listen, I've talked about it for years and years and years, and Cuervo can attest to me. All right, Aaron Rodgers has had a shoulder injury for the last 6 years for carrying this football team. For some reason this year, it's not Aaron Rodgers having to carry this football team. And they look like a more complete football team when they are doing it. Now, I'm not saying that their defense is great, but they have flashes of being good when they have to be. You don't have to be a good defensive football team. You just have to be good in moments. And that's right now is what you're getting with Green Bay. They're good in moments when they have to be, when they got to do it. And they're not depending upon the shoulder of Aaron Rodgers to win a football game. So, Cuervo, I know this makes you want to puke and everything, but Tennessee, this is a tough football team. But really, to be honest, I didn't take 2 seconds to think about this one because when I put the quarterbacks together, Ryan Tannehill, comeback player of the year, if that's what you want to call him, he's no Aaron Rodgers.
True. However, Derrick Henry,
I know what he's saying. He doesn't have to be because he has a running game and Green Bay doesn't.
Well, no, not necessarily. And I'm going to have to brush my teeth after this or drink some coffee. Aaron Jones for Green Bay is no slouch either. I mean, he is a solid back. I can't believe I'm talking like this about them, but yeah, he does produce and he does make plays when Green Bay needs it, and that's why Aaron Rodgers' shoulders aren't feeling so sore anymore and so hurt because you got a guy like him that can run the football and open up things for Rodgers in the passing game when they wanted that, and that's their bread and butter. That's what they do, the short passes to the outside, the flats, and Devontae Adams makes plays, and the other receivers that they have make plays, and that's just what they do. Yep.
Oh, by the way, I got to do it again because I do it all the time. I was about Devontae Adams when they gave him that contract. I was like, you guys are absolutely crazy not only has he proven me wrong, he deserves more, and he's going to get more because he's the best wide receiver in the NFL. Yeah, I said it, and it makes me want to puke too, but he's one of, if he's not the top guy, he's number 2. Man, I know, I see the look, and I get it, and I know you want me to back. I'm not backing off the statement. When you have Aaron Rodgers throwing you the football and you are Devontae Adams, you're a bad mamma jamma, and I don't care what you got to say. And I say if Ryan Tannehill was just a little bit better, I think I'd be on Tennessee, because here's what the Green Bay Packers are going to do. They're going to make Ryan Tannehill beat them in this game. They're going to try to close out. Now, it might be hard, but they are going to – their number one priority, stop Derrick Henry. Now, will they do it? I don't know, but they got the game plan. And then they're saying if they're going to win this game, it's going to be the Ryan Tannehill show, and I just don't see it. I'm on Green Bay. Cuervo, I know this makes you want to puke, but what do you think about when you're looking at that game?
Well, first of all, Devontae Adams is not the best receiver. But that's beside the point. I look at
one of the best,
top 30. How about that?
There's no bias in that statement, but it is.
No, look. Waka waka, but Tyreek Hill, really? Tyreek Hill.
He's pretty good.
Okay. He's damn good. He's damn good.
Pretty good.
And not only that, but who's the other guy? There's another guy too. Michael Thomas has been hurt. Julio Jones has been hurt. Okay, so I can't count those guys.
Right.
But I know there's got to be someone else out there. And in the name, I just had the name in my head. I can't think of it. But DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep. DeAndre.
DeAndre Hopkins is a damn good receiver, and I'd take him over Devontae Adams any day of the week, and twice on Sundays, especially.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
That's an Arizona quarterback who can't throw the football. But when he does, he throws it to Devontae Adams, and they are pretty successful. So if they had a better quarterback, I'd be all over that pick.
Well, I'll just say this. Imagine DeAndre Hopkins in Green Bay. How good of a combo would that be?
I agree. But he's not. But it is what it is. Bringing in the boss, DC Dennis Clark. That's my brother from my mother. And that being said, the Green Bay, listen, being Bear fans as we are, Dennis, I mean, we're Bear fans. I mean, we're from the area. Take a hit. Yeah, that's really great to do. Thank you very much for doing that on my show. But take away from that, looking at this game, DC, Green Bay and Tennessee, I know who you picked because I got your picks in early, and he's froze up. Okay, his internet sucks. I'm not going to leave that here because this is the job of the hut. I mean, my brother right here, he's stuck there. He's back. There he is. So what do you think about this one, Dennis? He's froze up again. All right, so you're gonna have to, I'm gonna boot him. Try to reboot, Dennis, because we're getting you on freeze. So
he's moving. He's moving.
Now he's moving. Now I won't boot him. What do you think about this? What do you think about this one, DC?
Say something.
I don't know if he can hear it. Can you hear us?
She should try talking.
I think
he's got bad internet. That's what it is.
That sucks.
So I will go ahead and give him the old move him out, and maybe he can make a different connection. We can see him in the green room. But look at this one, Jeff. I mean, you got the running game that you're getting with Henry out there. You have on the other side probably future Hall of Famer and Aaron Rodgers. Looking at this game and this game only, what are you seeing?
Before I tell you, I just want to ask you a question about the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Okay, and maybe our buddy. Now I'm using my finger. People didn't see this in my last broadcast, but it's like I'm pointing down, so everyone should see that I'm pointing to the guy with the headphones.
Cuervo.
So
Yeah.
Cuervo, right? And people didn't know what I did that on my last broadcast because they didn't remember local access television playing with the screens and all that.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world. But as far as the Packers are concerned, who statistically is the better quarterback in history? Brett Favre or Aaron Rodgers?
Well, I guess it depends on what you mean by statistically, like who's thrown more yards, more touchdowns, who's got a better rating. If you're talking better rating, then Rodgers is the better quarterback. But if you're talking like overall, like mass numbers, like yards and touchdowns, Favre is still ahead of Rodgers. So I guess it depends on what you mean by statistically.
Well, interestingly enough that you say that, Jeff, both of the team right now, both Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre have 119 victories, just to let you know.
Wow! That's awesome. And I'm only saying that because people are so caught up in the teams that are playing right now and thinking the players are totally into right now, whereas maybe Aaron Rodgers is professional with the right now, but in the back of his mind and in his heart, he's like, I gotta freaking eclipse that guy.
There's no question. I'm going to tell you the reason why I know this. I don't think I know it. I know it. You go back in the years where Favre was up in Green Bay, Favre was not helping this man whatsoever. He's like, I am not going to teach this guy how to steal my job. And that was his stance on the whole situation. And rightfully so. I stood up the front. I was like, that's exactly what you do. You bury that guy that takes your job. But here's the thing. Both, in 182 games, by the way, just to let everybody know, they're both at 119. But Aaron Rodgers will go more than that because he'll continue to play. But that's how many games Favre played. 182 games. They both have 119. So he will probably go down in history as being the better quarterback based upon stats, based upon wins, based upon all the other things. But you also got to take the step back. We talk about it all day long, whether it's Jerry Rice having guys hanging all over him and still making plays. Could you imagine if he didn't have all that going on? Yes, look at that. So, it just depends upon the, I think, era of football.
I think that the disadvantage Brett Favre has is that he's out of the game and Aaron Rodgers is still playing. So if he could just stay in the game long enough, he just might win that battle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm taking the Packers in this game.
Yeah, so Green Bay up on for his pick. I agree. I mean, Green Bay is a good football team, but Cuervo, you're looking at Tennessee. What are you looking at when you take a look at Tennessee in this game? I mean, do you expect Henry to run the ball through the whole thing? Do you expect that kind of thing, or do you think Green Bay will be able to stop it if they pinpoint on it?
Well, I sure hope so, Sonny. I hope Derrick Henry runs for 250 yards and 4 touchdowns. Is that happening? No, I just dislike the Green Bay Packers that much. Right. But now, do I think that's actually going to happen though? Probably not. I think he'll get half of that.
Yeah,
I think he'll have roughly 100 yards, maybe 1 score. But I think the Packers, like you said, they play good defense at the right time, and they'll find a way to slow Henry down and force Ryan Tannehill to keep them in this game.
I agree.
To me, I think that what's going to matter in this one is, can Tennessee's secondary match up to what Green Bay is going to try and do with them? Because I think that's one of the weaknesses of the Tennessee Titans is that secondary. It's not very good.
So, DC, what do you think when you're looking at it? I know we only got 3 minutes, but we usually go over about 5 minutes anyway. So what do you think about this one, DC? Dennis Clark.
Oh, please speak.
He can't hear us. Yeah, he's missing out on it. He's got really bad internet from where he's at. Supposedly it was supposed to be faster, but I think we lost him again. But that being said, Captain, before we go, we're going to do the one. Don't go anywhere. Stay online even after the show. We'll go offline. And
Yes.
I can talk to you after that. So that takes us into the last game, and we'll see if we can get DC to come back. Buffalo Bills in New England. I didn't have a lot to say about this one. I know that Jeff Ferguson don't want to pick this game in reality because he's just not giving the New England Patriot team that he is so in love with, in reality. So I'll throw it to Jeff first, looking at this one. Buffalo being, taking over the division. They are the cream that rise to the top after you lose Tom Brady and you lose what you're normally used to seeing as far as the Patriots are concerned. What do you think about this one when you got to go head to head? I think this is a game that I think New England really needs to win this game.
After losing Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, and the big guy,
Bronco.
Yep. For the first time in my life, I could actually be proud of the Buffalo Bills. And I don't mean to turn on my own team, but they're all playing for their jobs.
Yep.
And the Buffalo, they're playing for the big win.
Yep.
And I think in the AFC, Buffalo is going to prove something really big. And it might come down to what do you think? It might come down to Buffalo and Pittsburgh?
It could. I mean, just taking a look at the wild card and what it's all about, just throw it up there. Kansas City and Buffalo. If Kansas City wins one game, they've done it. So they might get it today as Kansas City is up against the Atlanta Falcons. But so that'll just all depend. And Cuervo made this statement earlier. How interested are the Buffalo Bills in trying to win this game? Because they're not going to really go anywhere in reality. They get the home game. So even losing this game isn't going to really matter. They get the home game. So Cuervo, look at this game, or in case somehow you see Cleveland, and if Bryce is right, they go on that slide, being the Steelers, and then Cleveland slides in there. When you're looking at Buffalo and what they're doing, they are taking over a division of football that is normally not the same. It's not a this is normally the New England Patriots division of football, and now they have made it their own. But you getting Buffalo, actually a good football team, just outside the division of football, they're winning games against maybe teams that they shouldn't, or whatever the case may be. And so what do you think about this one, Cuervo?
Yeah, honestly, Sonny, I really don't have a whole lot to say about this one. I see Buffalo. They're on clicking on all cylinders right now, and they're playing well at the right time. So I think, was it last week? Yeah, it was last week. New England went down to Miami, lost in Miami yet again. Yep. So I don't see how Buffalo slows down. So I like the Bills to win this game.
Yeah, I think I'm with you as far as that is concerned. By the way, I need you to actually officially pick the Green Bay and Tennessee game. Who do you have in that game, by the way?
Yeah. I want Tennessee to win.
I want them to win too. Just because I want them. Just because I hate the Packers. I hate being the a guy that has got to pick the reality of the show. But I hate the Packers. I want them to lose every damn week. Every time they step out on the football field, I want them to lose. And Lord forbid, next week. By the way, they have they have the Bears next week too. I mean, I want them to lose really bad, but. I just don't see it. Wait, so do you think Tennessee's got enough to muster out a win against the guys in green?
Unfortunately, no.
All right, so that's a no. That means that he just don't want to say it, and I don't blame him. Well, I don't know. I mean, we fill up 3 hours, and by the way, just to let everybody know, our show it will go into a tailspin after the Super Bowl. We'll be flexing times. It'll probably be around noon, 1 o'clock. As far as the show is concerned, we go 9 to noon. We take you up to football right now. It's about ready to kick off. That's exactly what we are able to do here. And there it is, red zone right there with Scott Hampton, who, by the way, was a guest on our show. The third year that he did the red zone. So unfortunately, he can't even get into the frickin' archives on Blog Talk Radio after 5 years. Bastard. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But
Sonny, did you lose that interview? Did you lose that interview?
I think I got it somewhere. I think I downloaded it somewhere. I think I just gotta go look for it. That was a fun interview, by the way. That was a lot of fun. And he graciously came on our show when we're nobodies. That's what I thought was cool about the whole thing. So, and not only that, he didn't give me political correct answers, which is why I don't bring on people on the show unless it's Tom McManus, because he won't give us a political answer. He'll just tell it like it is. So that's going to do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Any parting words there, Cuervo, before we're out of here?
No, so everybody enjoy the games, and we'll see how this all plays out. Some divisions could get clinched today. Some are still going to be up in the air. So this is some of the most exciting parts of the NFL season.
Week 17 is always good. Jeff, don't go anywhere. We're going to sign out here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Join us each and every Sunday as we look at all the games. And then after football season, we just look at sports in general. So for Cuervo, for Bryce in Brooklyn, for DC Dennis Clark, for Tarvin, and of course, Jeff, I'm Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio. We're out of here. Everybody have a good day. Bye-bye.